All right. And now we are back. And we are here, as I realized before, that I somehow did some weird Frankensteinian combination of Fractal Spire, which was the stream on Sunday with my 10-year stream anniversary. So that's what veterans do of streaming. They make classic rookie mistakes that people do in their first week. That's how we do things here. Anyway, but it is a pleasure to have everyone with us and to have the second part of the stream anniversary. What better thing to celebrate this 10-year time with than to do so with friends and to do so with one of the best campaigns being run on Twitch because of the best players that we have here. And that includes the 4 that you see before you, as this is day 37 of Adventures in Middle-earth Erebor Adventures. Again, thank you so much to the players for being patient while I switched over and for talking about Severance. And that's going to lead us to talk about the wonderful players here. I will begin with the gentleman who is currently looking like you ought to break into a rap from 8 Mile, but it's mostly just because he's cold. And that is our good friend, Trendane Sparks. Tren, how are you? And I wonder if you want to throw down some rhymes. Assuming you don't, then how's life, and who are you playing today in this campaign?
Trust me, I don't, and you don't want me to either. How am I? I'm okay. For the last probably week and a half, I've been trying to get up right before dawn and go for a walk and whatnot, and just get some more exercise. And I've been doing pretty good. There's a couple of days that I skipped because, like, the first day was all right, the second day was hell, the third day I was like and then the fourth day I was all right and everything was fine. Fifth day was great. Sixth day I was like and then blah blah blah. And this morning I got up, I walked to the end of the street, turned left, walked maybe another 50 yards, and something in me said, turn around and go home right now. I mean, right now. And there was this sense of now to it. And I was like, okay, all right. And I turned around and came back to the house. And I don't know what the hell that was, but just something in my...
I was waiting for you to be like, and waiting for me was...
No, it just...
Okay.
I thought maybe you'd left your oven on or something.
My just every instinct I have said, do not be out here right now.
He was the guy in the horror movie who didn't go into the woods or
right,
or whatever.
He took one look at it, kind of did, what was it? Was it Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy was like, too bad we can't stay. And turned around and laughed. It's like, oh God, I love that. I think it was Eddie Murphy. Get out. We can't stay. But yeah, I came home and I was like, okay, well, I started my laundry right before I left, so I guess it's not going to be done when I get back to the house because I'm here and the washing machine is barely finished filling up. Right, so maybe I'll just get something to eat. And I'm like, I'm not hungry. I don't want anything. I usually get hungry on my walk, and so when I come back home, I just grab something and sit down at my desk. And I sat down, and I'm like, all right, so what's going on? Oh, right, Arv's got his 10-year thing going on. And then all of a sudden, it's like my body temperature fell through the floor. And I was like...
Related to that, Arv, coldness, the coldness of the grave, 10 years.
Exactly.
Just like, God.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, I'll grab my blanket. Oh, no, it's in the washing machine right now. Damn it. Oh, what else do I have? Oh, my flannel shirt. Nope, that's in the laundry too.
Oh, no.
I'm like, well, what else do I have? And I'm looking around and I can't find, I'm like, there's my sleeping bag, which is way too cumbersome, and it would be too hot, to wrap around. And I'm just, and so I'm playing a guy named Tawny Bear, the Thane Mender Hearth friend dwarf.
Wow. I'm glad that the title means so much.
Yeah.
Tawny Bear Heat Mender.
Right.
Yeah, it's like Snow Miser.
He's
Mr. Heat Mender.
The thing is, normally if I'm in a place that's cold, I feel cold, but I enjoy it. I really like being cold. I think it feels great. Right now, that is not the case. This feels terrible to me.
Okay.
And even though I have this t-shirt on, I have this hoodie on, and I have this towel wrapped around me, like right across the shoulders where the towel is tight against, but it's still cold. And so I'm just like, I don't know what's going on.
You don't happen to have like, I don't know if this technology exists in California. Do you have hot water bottles?
Yeah, well, I mean, We do have them here.
Do you
I
have
don't,
one
I
in
don't
your
have
home?
one.
I
No.
love the idea
Okay.
that California is just like, we know.
Listen,
We're
We barely
beyond
have
that.
water. How would we have hot water bottles?
Right.
Like,
well, I mean, no, but for real though, I have like stories of, a British friend of my spouse was like went to work in California, actually working for Grinder as it happens.
Oh.
Hello.
But anyway, like apparently brought like noticed there was no kettle in the office. Like everywhere has coffee makers but no kettles.
Mhm.
So he brought in his little like kettle with him to make tea, and people were like, "Oh wow, I really like your water boiler." And stuff like had just the concept of kettles was like this weird unfamiliar thing.
Mhm.
And I just find like I don't want to take for granted the fact that maybe hot water bottles
We have a
are not a
kettle.
necessary
Is there-
thing.
We
Is
have
that
a
an
kettle.
old-timey microwave?
Yeah.
exactly.
Like-
Oh
But,
man. But Trent is playing Tawny Bear, as you mentioned. And in case anyone's curious, it's actually Thane Tawny Bear, the Hearth Mender, dwarf friend, a Bjorning scholar. Just pointing that out. That's
And a
all.
really good healer.
And a really good healer. There's no doubt about it. And
I'm gonna roll ones this whole game.
yeah,
now.
exactly. I've healed one. What? I'm sorry, I don't understand.
I mean, it still equals 50, but I.
Yeah, we'll see exactly. Anyway, it's a great pleasure to have Tren with us and be part of this as always. And I hope you get a little warmer over the course of the adventure. I hope.
Me too.
I hope, Tren. Moving right along, we also have with us the incomparable Tari Tunes, and Tari is with us. And actually, we are excited because I can't talk about exactly what, but Tari is going to be involved. May or may not have some involvement with something relating to things that I have been recently celebrating on this channel within the last 10 minutes. I'm just saying there may be some connection to that. Can't say more about it, but you should be excited, chat. As excited as I am. In the meantime, I said mysteriously, how are you, Tari? How's life in the universe with you? How's the house and all that stuff? And who are you playing today?
I'm doing okay. I suppose just figured that I can't read Twitch chat today, which is a shame because I got a new phone number and now it's telling me, hey, you need to like do the thing that we sent you via text message to log into your account. I'm like, yeah, but you guys still have my old phone number. And like everywhere I look, it's like, okay, so go into this app that we have and log in there with your account so that you can change your phone number there. I don't have that app or an account on it. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to contact support, I suppose. So that's annoying. Anyway, everybody in chat, please behave. Well, I can't ban you.
Oh
Well, if you
Tari
hadn't
has no
said-
power. Woo!
If
Celebrate.
you hadn't said that, everything would have been fine.
Yeah.
Maybe I just wanted to cause some chaos on purpose. Maybe. But who would ever want to do something like that? That would be no. I'm playing Thane Inga Homefinder, daughter of Ida and Council of Dine II. She is a wanderer and a dwarf from the Erebor. And she has not one, but two trusty sidekicks, one of them being a pony named Lilleman, and the other one being the newest addition to our
Menagerie.
party of merry men, and hobbit, I suppose, and dwarf. Would be a raven named Freki. So yeah, that's a gang now.
Very exciting to have the, yes, as I said, menagerie there. And also, I should say, one of the nice things about starting with a 10-year streamiversary is that we get good turnout. We're closing in on 40 people. Let's keep that up, people.
Nice.
Let's increase the numbers as we go forward here. But that's awesome. Thank you, Tari. And as I say,
by the
more
way,
to come.
finally, I remember to wear my shirt.
Yay! You're more than sure.
Yay.
I really have to, when we'll talk about this. Tari is going to be called upon for art in multiple ways over the next month or two. But I'm thinking about the possibility of, maybe doing another kind of shot of, because I want to wear these shirts too. The only reason I don't is I never want to choose and be like, see, this is my favorite. I don't want to be like that. So I need to do more. I need to figure out some group shot. Anyway, I'll talk with Tari about it later. That's for later,
Well,
Greg, to worry
Greg,
about.
it's fine if you tell the other ones that they are your favorites. We really do know that we are your favorites.
Yeah.
So it's
If everyone believes that, I'm like, my favorite, and all of you are like, right, like.
Wink,
But
wink,
anyway, it's a
nudges.
great pleasure to have Tari with us. And I'll also quickly note for those two people who just went through, Tren and Tari, both very good friends, and both have been a big part of making the channel what it is in various ways. So I want to also thank both of you very much for being good friends and good people. Thank you. Moving down the line, we have another good friend of mine, although has not been involved with the channel as long, but has still had a prominent effect, and that is our good friend Brad Bollier. Brad, it's good to see you, and I hope all is well with you. I am excited to see the power of what happens to your character. And speaking of that, how's life in the universe with you and everything? And who is this character that you are leveling up today?
Things are good. I am trekking much as we are going to be trekking soon across the ways through my latest draft, first draft of a new world, and it's been a bit weird because I think I might have mentioned this last time, like working through Song of the Shattered Sands for like a decade essentially in this desert-based world, and now I'm doing more of a coming home type thing. You know, the world is more Western European-ish. Not completely so, but somewhat, and so it, you know, it's kind of coming back to my roots a little bit in terms of like fantasy, which I avoided for many years. I didn't want to sort of tread that ground or walk in other people's footsteps. I wanted to find something where I felt like I had something to say. It gave me juice to write about. So I'm actually writing a dragony based epic fantasy and getting into the first book, and it's been a huge slog, just because I had to start the world all over again. I was so used to and comfortable in Sharakai and this grand desert in the old world, old series that I was writing. Everything is just, you know, especially towards the end of the series, I'm not adding any new threads. I'm not adding many new characters, you know, at that point. And so everything is sort of inherited from all of this work that I put in the previous bunch of books. And now that I'm writing this new series, it's just, oh man, it's just hard. It's like pushing sludge uphill, you know, trying to get everything up to the top. But I'm getting near the end of that, end of the first draft, you know. So I'm really looking forward to getting to the 0th draft, just so I can like, I talk about writing and teach writing a fair bit, and I often say like the book that I started is not even close to the book that it is by the time I finish the first draft. And that's because the characters change so much, the world changes so much. I fill in so many details. And so like this, after I finish the 0th draft, that next draft, the true first draft, is when things really start to feel sort of contiguous, you know, and proper. It feels itself, you know. So I'm kind of working through that. And in the meantime, I'm playing Bolabras Tuk, a kind-hearted, cast iron pan wielding treasure hunting burglar who is looking forward to seeing a dragon for the first time.
Yes, I'm going on an adventure with dragons. It's going to be awesome. And also I will give a special shout out to Brad as well, because I actually workshopped an early version of Greyshade at Wellspring Workshop, which Brad run. I really enjoyed those workshops. So a few people saw this, and Brad and Kelly, I believe, Kelly Swales were the two people that were, I think, working on this draft in particular, if I'm not mistaken. So, so an early draft of this. So again, thank you to Brad. Wellspring is prominently mentioned in the acknowledgments of this book, but thank you to Brad for helping lead this to this almost moment, you know, when that gets released. So anyway, so thanks, Brad, and great stuff. And I'm excited to see your new worlds. I'm also excited to see you play, and I'm also excited to see Amal. Amal Elmatar is with us, and I'm glad very much to have Amal with us. And you know, last time that we were playing a few weeks ago, I know it had been a little bit, you know, there was some frustrations and things that have been going on and all that, and I believe me, I know that feeling. I hope that you're feeling hopefully a little better, and that your wonderful work is sustaining you. And either way, I hope that, you know, your wonderful work sustains us. And I wanted to know how you are doing and how your life is, and of course who you are playing today, now that you completely know and have memorized your title, since you have a new one.
For sure. I'm doing, you know, I knock on wood, I feel like I'm doing okay. I got this when When did we last play?
I think it was 2 weeks
wasn't
ago, right?
2 weeks ago.
I want to say 2. Yeah.
It feels like longer ago because it was actually probably good that we didn't play last week because my brain rot about Our Flag Means Death has slightly dissipated. So I don't need to be talking about Our Flag Means Death, the queer pirate show, as much today. For instance, I was talking about Severance, a completely different television show, also very good. No, things are okay. Mostly they are okay because I have finished teaching for the foreseeable future. So I finished teaching. I'm still marking, but it's also spring. Today's a lovely sunny warm day. It's just things feel okay. I continue to knock on wood as I say that because like I'm setting myself up some. Oh, today actually, one of the lovely things that has happened today is that my very, very dear friend, CSC Cooney, married to Carlos Hernandez, who is often on this channel,
Yes,
I think,
absolutely.
has a book that is out today called Saint Death's Daughter. Do I have it here? Oh, I don't have it right next to me. It's so beautiful. I love it so much. I blurbed it. I adore it. So I just want to shout that out. Saint Death's Daughter, also a gorgeous, gorgeous book. While we're talking about excellent books on this channel. But yeah, other than that, I just did things are chill, I think. Just gonna mark and then see my way to the end of this term and then enjoy a lovely long summer.
And then breathe.
Perhaps writing and
Exactly.
stuff. But I feel like I'm missing something obvious, but I think that's probably fine to do for now. Yeah, so I'm playing the newly minted Thane River music wielder, who is a woodman, who's a woodman of Roscobel, who is a warden, a fighty bard. And does Stone have a title by proxy? I feel like
goodest
Thane
goodest
Stone.
boy,
Bark maker.
boy of
Thane
goodest.
Stone, goodest boy, chomper of orcs. Like I don't
Yes,
know.
yes.
Just
leader of the
War
menagerie,
Wrangler.
along with Lilimon. You know,
Yeah, I
orc
think Stone
grinder.
Be...
Oh.
Oh no, I like War Wrangler, orc grinder. Anyway,
you said orc. I was thinking orc grinder again. I was like, what?
Oh
It's
no,
not.
that's
No, we don't want any of that. There's no. Never mind. It's been great seeing all of you, and it's been a good 10 years.
Trend suddenly very alert. Very good. Oh god, that'd be amazing. Like orc grinder would be like, I mean, for one thing, I'm thinking organ grinder, which would have a very different connotation for orcs. But second, just imagining like orcs advertising themselves on Grinder, and then people turn up and actually get ground into like bread.
Yeah, like, what did you think we meant? Like, just like
I'll grinder your bones to make my bread. Anyway,
interesting part to put my headphones back on too.
Yes, it's been an interesting situation. Yes.
Anyway, yeah, so that's who I'm playing. Thane River, music wielder, who is a woodsman of Roscobel, and who, is not actually looking forward to seeing a dragon again. Hope feeling mixed feelings about all this dragon stuff.
It will be fine. Maybe the dragon will be in a good mood. You know, like who knows? I will also say very quickly, 2 quick notes. One on Claire, one on Amal, and then I'll show Marie the cover because Marie, the wonderful Marie Bilodeau, has just shown up. So first of all, on Amal, Amal was kind enough to do a blurb for my graphic novel Icarus, and I've known Amal for a long time. Actually, the first person who was ever interviewed on Speculate way back in the day was Amal and Saladin Ahmed for at the time Poetry, and it was a particular issue, I think, on writers of Arabic descent, I believe, and that was so. Anyway, but I've known Amal for a long time, and when I talked to Amal about doing this campaign, I remember Amal was kind of like, "Well, I don't know about the time commitment, but maybe," and I know, and I'm so glad that Amal decided to do this and has been a part of this. So thank you so much for all of your generosity and awesomeness in various ways.
Literally earlier, was it earlier today or was it yesterday? Like Stu was asking if I started doing this stream before the pandemic, because we were all wobbly with time. And I was
Yeah.
like, not only before the pandemic, pretty sure I started in the autumn of 2017, which is going on 5 years.
5 years.
5 years.
Yep. Yep. It's incredible. But it's been wonderful to have you. So thank you, Amal. Second note about Claire. Of course, Claire is that I will double the second to the recommendation for Saint Death's Daughter, and anything by Claire is good stuff. Also, I will say that both CSA Cooney and Carlos Hernandez may or may not be involved in a certain prominent convention coming up in a couple of months, and may or may not have submitted a story to a particular anthology being edited by someone else in this chat as we speak. Those things may all be the case, and we are going to be making official announcements shortly about the author lists for 2 conventions with which I am officially associated. So I wanted to mention that, and it's good stuff. Now, the other thing, please spend the next 15 minutes reading all the book jacket bits dramatically. I can't do that, Marie, but I will say that this, I'm going to leave you folks behind for 1 second just to go to the intro screen. This, Marie, is the cover. This is Gray Shade. This will be coming out May 31st, that you can see coming from Athos Arts. That is the cover. It is done by Peter Tikos, who is the person who does a lot of Shadowrun and some Battletech, but especially Shadowrun covers. He did a spectacular job on this, and the cover layout and design, with lots of consultation from people like Turbo Tango and others, but layout was done by Chris Bell largely, and Chris Ballstegen here did a wonderful job on this. And there's the spine, which is so super good. And then the back cover, which looks badass with a, oops, look who happens to be, Martha Wells, if that isn't a blurb by Martha Wells. And then inside the front cover, we have all of these prominent writers, people like Mike Underwood, Martha Wells, Kelly Swales, Aaron Rosenberg, Bradley P. Bollier, Eric Scott DeBee, and of course the Andor Bachenko, A Timely Study in the Price of Fanaticism and the Burden of Violent Faith, one of my favorite review quotes I've ever gotten on any of my work. And Marie is huge about this because Marie was one of the first editors on a version of this, I guess I would say. I can't call it an edition because this is a very different book now in some ways, but the first edition of this that came out some years ago. So Marie is an awesome, Marie is an awesome person and is responsible, one of the people who contributed along the way to this stuff. So I'm super excited. And yes, I can't wait. Read what, Marie? Read this book? Read it to Marie. Read what? What are you talking about? Read what? The whole book? I can't read the whole book. Oh, just the blurb. Martha Wells' blurb is filled with political intrigue and with a main character struggling with his religious convictions. This is a great read for fans of dark, gritty fantasy, says Martha Wells, New York Times bestselling author of the Murderbot Diaries. Also, Mike's blurb, which is thoughtful and full of suspense. Gray Shade unfolds like a riddle and then goes for the throat. Highly recommended. Big fan of that blurb. And again, the Wilson wraps the revelatory and morally important nature of his main character's story in a great main character's journey in a great story, a timely study in the price of fanaticism and the burden of violent faith. It remains my favorite thing ever, like that anyone ever said about my book. I was just like, damn. So I'm super excited. Read the damn description to Marie. Well, I can't do this. These people are waiting to play a game. I can't just keep reading my stuff. Read the, okay.
I have a question though about the book, if I may.
Yes, I will do that. Yes.
So, like, very quickly, like, how does this differ from the old version of the book?
There are multiple changes that have been made in terms of characters, in terms of the world in which it takes place, in terms of the, how do I put this? The sort of the thematic orientation of the book. I'm being kind of vague because I can't spoil too much stuff that way. So
but like
there
a lot
some,
has changed, yeah?
Yes, a lot has changed.
Okay.
Now, there are also many things that are the same, so I don't want to say that it's like utterly different, but it is definitely a different book. Also, I wanted to say hi to Jen Brozek, who's here. Hi, Gon Eden. And all right, I'll read the description. I'm so sorry to my players. The people want it. I'm being demanded. The people are making me do this. All right, I'm going to do this, but then we really do have to get to the game. These people are being more than generous. Okay, for 10 years, the assassin Gray Shade has eliminated threats to the Order of Argoth, the just god. Within the towering walls of Corel, all bow to the Order's authority, even while city officials publicly distance themselves from its actions. As the supreme executor of the Order's edicts, Gray Shade dispatches his targets with protocol and precision. But when an assignment breaks these rules, he does the most dangerous thing an acolyte of Argoth can do. He asks why. Now a target of the order he so long served without question, he must use all of his skills not only to kill, but to stay alive. Greyshade is a novel of violent faith and shifting loyalties, a story about whether we can rise above our pasts to craft new futures. You damn right I'm proud of that back matter. But anyway, that's my book. I'm very pleased with this. In some ways, it's a very personal book to me. And so I'm super excited about it, and I apologize to my friends for having made them wait, but I hope that the authors will understand why I get excited about something new. Anyway, that's the deal. Thank you, Marie, for pushing me on that. Seriously, all jokes aside. Players, you are wonderful people, and it is time to get into our game. So let's talk a little bit about what happened in our last session as I fire up some music. Let's go with Willow in the Light by Kevin MacLeod, one of my favorites. Okay.
But it's not a willow leaf.
It you know.
No, the leaf on the cover of the book. It's not a willow.
Yeah, well, this is you mean this one right here, Trent? You're doing this on
And
purpose.
the other one.
Yeah,
And the other one.
and the
Both
other
of them.
and the other one.
They're-
Let it be
they're-
known, I am not the one doing that. Okay.
I'm just saying, they're ginkgo petals.
They are. Yes.
Yep.
It's really difficult to tell with like the low resolution.
I had to flip to the stream to see. Wait, no. One of them is ginkgo, and the other one. Can you look at the other one again?
Looks like an
Oh yeah, the
elm
other
or
one is
something
Linda.
like that.
Yeah. Go back to the other one. There we go. Yeah, that one is more.
That
of
looks
an
like a
elf.
ginkgo, right? That's
No,
The
the
fan-shaped one is the ginkgo.
yeah, this one, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't that,
Yeah.
that's more ginkgo? Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly, and the other one looks more like an elm leaf.
Yes. And I have to say that this little element of color, I hadn't even thought about this. His doing this, those are really the only yellows in the whole thing. And so we tried to pick that up with the author title. But the yellows in front of the cathedral, which is the home of his faith, basically, Grayshade's faith is big about this. You all did this to me, and
Can
I'm going to
you,
go
like,
rave
show
about
the
this.
face,
For what,
like close up, please.
I was
because
gonna say,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure there's also some yellow in there.
And
That's like
and
really difficult to tell.
he's got a
well,
bit of
more
a-
reddish,
bit of a-
really.
bit of a Denethor eating thing going on there at the corner of the mouth with the
You got the little star
Oh, he's a
going
vampire
on.
actually. That's like the big change.
Yeah.
To the...
Yeah. His name is Bloodshade. No, that's the, it looks like
Bloodshade.
somebody said they were like, so why did you put yourself in the book? I'm like, I didn't do that. That was the cover artist. But it was funny that I was like, would I be Greyshade? I mean, I'd like to think I'm a nicer person than Greyshade is. But are there elements of me that like the idea of paths of faith and redemption? Maybe
Why-
those
why-
are
why do I
themes in
feel
my
like I
life. I
know?
don't know.
Why
I
does
thought
it
you
feel like
were-
I know who that specifically said about you?
Yeah,
No, you don't
I
know this person actually. You don't know this person.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
I totally
because I do know
thought-
one person who would say something like that. So
No,
that's,
I totally thought that you were about to say like, yeah, do I ever want to go on a murderous spree of like righteousness? Maybe sometimes, but like,
The righteousness,
for legal
yes.
reasons, I will say yes.
Yeah,
no,
yeah,
I mean, no.
And yeah, what Garlic Tofu put in there is the clicking on the Goodreads link, because there is a new Goodreads link that's been put there. Thank you, everybody, for asking multiple questions about my book. Let it be known, I was trying to get to the summary, and then these people, every time I get out, they put me back in. Anyway, so...
So would you say this book is printed on paper or?
what's the
Dang.
font
I can
size?
derail this further.
What's the font size?
Yeah.
I am
Also,
going to
what
say
is the
this, though.
font?
I am going to say this, though. Can I just geek out for a moment at that? At how good that freaking looks? That opening section thing?
Yeah,
The-
that's odd.
The long tail with the R is just so, oh my god. Why are you doing this to me? Stop making me look at my own book. I'm okay. All of you are witnesses.
How often do players get to feel this much like power over their DM? I have to say, and, like, I feel this is a real treat.
There will be a digital version. There will be. Why don't you all sub to my YouTube channel while these people are trying to desperately disrupt me? You know what it is? They don't want to face the dragons. They're like, if we keep Arv talking, we may never have to face the dragon.
Listen, oh no, well, sauce.
You know what's
we don't
great,
get
Arv,
to the
is
dragon, then
Greyshade.
there
You
is
know?
no dragon.
There's going to be a point where I'm just talking and, it's just going to be like, so you've come to destroy me. I love Greyshade cover. Oh, really? Have you noticed the back cover? I'm a big fan of the spine. Like, and I'm just sitting on like a pile of like, Amal's Hugos or something like that. That's all, that's stuff I love as part of the same mix. Oh man, like Brad's European publisher books, like, right, is just a horde of them fall over, like, I'm published in 55 languages, didn't you know? Anyway, All right, I've sufficiently. I honestly, can I just say it is actually very, very touching me to me to have this kind of banter. There was a time in my life where, as a writer, I would not have expected that people would be able to do that with me, and it's thank you. That's kind of nice. So I'm just gonna not cry now, and I'm gonna talk about I'm gonna talk about other stuff.
What else can we say to make him more cry?
Oh, well, for that,
You all suck. I mean, you're wonderful people, but you all suck.
that's why I'm on
Let me just
Grindr.
throw in.
Sorry, Brad, go.
We can all attest in like our different crafts. Everyone here, it is a rarity, honestly, to be able to like talk about your stuff and just kind of revel in it for a little bit. And so that's my wish for Greg. Just revel in this a little bit. You know, just enjoy it. We're all enjoying with you. And so,
or just cry on camera for our amusement. That also works.
It's so funny though, because it's just like, yeah, you know, as a kid who sort of had certain, you know, dreams and aspirations, and then was like, well, you know, I don't know if it's ever going to work, or who was sometimes got the impression that the dreams and aspirations weren't really a big deal because there was always something wrong with them. Just kind of getting a general, you know, let's make more jokes about Arv's awesome book that he's excited about is moving to me. So yeah, it's hard. It's hard to just sort of take it in, because sometimes you just kind of want to be like, you know, but no, that's wrong, and that's not, but it's not wrong. So thank you.
Our filters cut us off, but you know, you know, we're among friends and we're among people who love this stuff too. So we're just, you know, we're chatting, we're enjoying your success. So
I appreciate that. Thank you. So remember all this, people, when we go out, and we hopefully will sell thousands, and then I'll buy a Adventures Middle Earth hovercraft or something. I don't know. I'll figure that out.
To New Zealand.
I think that's called an eagle.
That's good. Oh, I have to share this with all of you. I don't know if you saw this someone on Twitter posted. I couldn't believe how good this was. Thank you for the follow, Mongoose. I couldn't believe how good this was. So they posted this like black and white picture of Tolkien, and it's this clip of a recording of Tolkien talking about people who asked him about why don't the eagles just fly to Mordor. And so it starts playing, and it sounds exactly like Tolkien saying, like, so I spoke to him, and the man went to and if you've ever listened to any interviews of Tolkien, like Tolkien, like constantly like says things multiple times and like sort of semi-stutters and then speaks, and then he sounds very much like an Oxford professor, like exactly what he is. He's like, so and I talked to him, and the man told me asked that question, and I've had many people ask me that same thing, and I said to him, shut up. And then you realize that like the whole thing was fake, but it was so perfect. It sounded like him. It was so great. Oh man, if you get a chance to see it, I'll have to see if I can retweet that at some point. It was so good, and it totally rickrolled me. Like I was just listening to it, and I'm like, oh, that was fake. It was great though. Oh man. Yeah, we're lucky Tolkien didn't live in the time of the internet. Well, yes, it's funny too. Tolkien passed away the year after I was born. And his work has had such a profound effect on my life that, like, I don't know. I'm glad I was able to share the planet with him for a year or so, and I know Brad would share that sentiment. Almost certainly. We've talked about that before with Tolkien. Anyway, all right, let's get into this actual session. But thank you all. That was lovely. So, in our last session, the wonderful people of the Anduinats had made their way to the world of King Dane, and I mean that because they went to the Iron Hills, where Dane, of course, originally is from, but it's not where Dane is now. Dane, of course, is now the king under the mountain. He is in Erebor, and so why he went there was unclear, and it wasn't clear until they got there that the reason was because he is concerned increasingly about two things. Number one, the growth of tensions between men and dwarves, especially the men of Dale and dwarves. This is something the parties had to deal with over the last 4 adventures or so, parts of the campaign, as that tension is built. But the other reason that Dane was here was because of the rise of a threat. Smoke rises from the north again, and both through that and through visions and prophecy, what Dane discovered was that there was the risk of a dragon. I'm going to stop for a moment because Mrs. Arv, whose birthday is today, has arrived on the scene. So happy birthday once again to my lovely wife. who received cards and presents this morning. I will let you all know that I got her the wireless speaker system and the waterproof speaker she requested for the shower. So I have officially delivered the present that I was intended to get. So I want that to be clear. I'm just gonna
Question.
pet.
So it's both your wife's birthday and your 10-year anniversary on
Correct.
Twitch. So why did you decide to sit down and make a Twitch account on your wife's birthday?
It was in the evening that I did it, and it was after she'd already gone to bed and we'd had a nice family dinner and everything. And I was like, I'm in a good mood. Why don't I try to stream? And that was where it all happened. Also, I never forget this way, right? You know, her birthday, I mean. No, I'm just kidding. No, I do actually remember her birthday very well. This is by far the easiest way to remember a stream birthday. We got married on August 16th of 2003, and we used to joke that we did that because that was the same day as my father's birthday. At a certain point, there's only so many days in a month, right? Like, but whatever, it all works. So, where was I? So King Dane said that there is this threat of a dragon and has basically recruited the heroes to be able... As I pull forth my book, to be able to hunt down and kill the dragon. He has asked them to slay a dragon. But they're not the only ones, actually, who are in this group. There are several others who are on the hunt of this group, and I believe I have them over, as we jump over to the map, I have them here. One of them is the Brothers Culdrum. The Brothers Culdrum are a mercenary organization. They are considered very competent, quite good at what they do, but there is some question about whether or not they do everything above board all the time. And so that is something that the party has to consider. This is one of them, the Brothers Culdrum. The second group that has gone on this hunt is this group, Greystroke and Skurfira. Greystroke is the hero that you see in back, a human hero, tall and grim, bitter and fell-handed with an elven great spear. And along with her is a young dwarf of the Iron Hills known as Skurfira Silvertongue, a scholar and poet known for her merriment and being one of the very few dwarf women, and I think we know another one in this party, to defy convention and travel openly. So Greystroke and Skurfira. And last, but certainly not least, we have Lord Elston, who is the first captain of Dale, commander of the Royal Barracks, widely known in Wilderland, widely admired, someone that Tawny Bear actually came into contact with during Wilderland Adventures, I believe, but also perhaps slightly past his prime at this point, doing this because of the honor of the thing. Tawny, well past it. No, I was talking about Elston. Elston, perhaps a little bit past his prime, and he himself has gone off on this hunt too. So there are 3 separate groups in addition to the party that are on their way. Now, why does this matter? Because they have a day's head start on the party, and more important than that, the party, although they certainly might like to meet any or all of these people, and I think in particular the River is really looking forward to hanging out with Greystroke and Skurfira, if she can find them. But not only is it that, but it's also because there is a concern that when they arrive, the dragon may be the one that the party has dealt with before, about which more in a moment, the dragon may become riled up, may become more difficult to sneak up on and do what the party needs to do in ending the life of said dragon. And so the party basically wants to try to catch up to and maybe pass them, and maybe get to the dragon first if they can. So the race/hunt, so to speak, is on. Now, the other note that I want to make about this is that the party may have dealt with this dragon before, because in a previous adventure at the end of Wilderland Adventures, the party made a bargain with a dragon. I was thinking about that scene from Doctor Strange. I've come to bargain. So they may have made a bargain with this dragon, if it is the same dragon, Raynor, that basically he would come and would take over residence in his tower where the Gibbet King had set up shop, and in fact, Raynor did eventually do that. They escaped with their lives then, but that was several years ago, and Raynor was somewhat younger and perhaps not as dangerous, because there are rumors that this particular dragon, his breath has been set alight, and one of the only ways that that can happen is if fell magic done by sorcerers, as was the case in the ancient days, is once again brought to bear on the breath of this dragon. If this is Raynor, but now with his breath alit, the party is in for a little bit of a gamble. At least that's what Tawny and Inga the River think. Bolo is just excited to see a dragon, but has not encountered this one. So that's the deal with that. And just before we get started, I do want to see, because Bolo has leveled up to level 9 and is going to roll hit points, I believe, on our stream. So we're going to do that, Bolo. I'm going to hand this over to you so that you can roll that, and then we're going to get into things.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh,
6.
not bad.
All right. Not bad at all. So that means you're at 52 out of 52, I believe.
Yeah.
Is that the case? All right. 52 out of 52, which puts you only 5 points behind one Mr. Tawny Bear, the Hearthmender. All right. Bolo, what do you... oh, sure. Go ahead. I was going to ask you what cool stuff you get at your level.
Yeah, I got my sneak attack goes to 5d6 instead of 4d6, which is pretty awesome.
Classic.
He will be a force for like one strike in a battle. And
Until the dragon's
then
like...
he'll be... Then
You know,
back,
like, that's right.
yeah.
And it
He'll
worked
be back to
between the
slinging
eyes.
stones, it's a doink, doink, doink. And then hide. I have hide in shadows, a new ability that was unlocked as part of my burglar abilities, so I can hide more easily, even when others are aware of my presence. And then proficiency bonus went up. So
it's good stuff, though. Those two, I mean, those two ones are pretty good ones. Yeah, the rogue damage is just absurd. But it fits. Okay, now you had a question you were going to ask.
Well, yeah, I mean, not really as part of my leveling so much as we're prepping for this. One of the things I wanted to at least inquire about is, especially since we're talking with with Dane, is the armor. Like I probably should have looked at this before, but I'm wondering if there's like a better armor that Bolo could have, because he's had kind of the same thing. His armor class is kind of.
Yes, I think so. Now, yeah, because actually, remind me, what armor do you have at the moment? Do you know?
Where did it go? No, that's my proficiency.
Also, while you're doing that, I will say that we have just hit 832, and I'm going to add something special because I was so moved by what happened earlier. I'm going to add something special for this party and for all of you. So we're trying to push to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. We're at 832 now. If we can get to 1,000 subscribers, we can monetize that channel. It's going to give lots of benefits both for that channel and this channel. So here's what I'm going to do. Thanks to the generosity of viewers and people like Dragonspear, I have some giveaway games that I was going to do at 850, but I'm going to reduce that, and I'm going to help our players out at the same time. If we get 8 more YouTube subs to drop to 840, I'm going to give away a game, and I will also do this. I will randomly provide the players one bit of information about the dragon to which they are going. That is to say, something they need to know about the dragon. Perhaps it is a rumor they hear on the wind, or a feather that drops from a raven, or perhaps it is something they feel it in the air. I feel it in the water. Perhaps it's one of those things. But if we hit 840, then I will give the players one of those, and every 10 subs thereafter, I will give away a game and will give the players an additional bit of information. So I will do this with every 10 subs once we hit 840. So 8 more subs. It's free to do this, chat. 8 more subs on YouTube, and I will give away a game and give the players information. So let's make it happen. Okay, I'm sorry, Brad. You said you were looking at stuff.
Yeah, my
and...
my proficiency is light armor, and as I recall, I have like leather armor of some sort.
Yep. Actually, you don't seem to have it on your character sheet.
Yeah, and I don't know how my armor class was determined, to be honest, at this point anymore.
Well, it would have been a combination of your dexterity. And light armor allows you to use that dexterity. That's the reason for that. I'm going to pull up items here. I'm going to take a look at items.
Studded leather
is what you have now.
So, yeah.
Studded leather would be the best leather armor, best light armor he could have.
Okay.
Yeah, what I'm
and
trying to find is
what's the base armor class of that?
Studded leather is what did you say?
13 or 14, I think.
Yeah, I think that's right. Let me find the items. I'm trying to find whether it's in the Lore Master's Guide or the Player's Guide where the freaking items are.
armor on in the player's guide is on page 150.
Thank you, Tari.
Studded leather.
The
is
leather
page 12.
jerkin, the leather corselet, the hide armor, the corset of mail, the scale hauberk. Sounds
Yes,
good.
yes. That's it.
Hauberke.
Yes.
There, that's how you say that.
So this is what
Mail,
we're
heavy
looking
mail,
at.
shield, and great shield.
So right, this is what we're looking at, and actually studded leather. So it doesn't.
Right, I forgot we're dealing with.
You were dealing with Middle Earth. So you have a leather jerkin probably right now, Bolo, which would give you 11 plus your dex modifier. And so your dex modifier is pretty high, I imagine. What's your
The highest it can be.
It's 5, so I must
16?
I must have a leather corselet already because I have a 17 AC.
That's probably what you have. Now, what I'll say is,
Wait, you have a 17 AC?
Yeah, because I have a 5 dex
Okay.
modifier.
Oh man.
He's very dexterous. Yeah.
It's great. It's just I'm like, wait, why do you need better armor?
He's
Like-
tiny and he's fast. So.
Yeah.
it's like, what do you
Sorry,
need more?
I've
'Cause
been sitting at 14 AC since we started. My AC has not gone up the whole time.
In
I'm
fairness,
feeling-
though-
Even
You
with, like-
started with like magic armor or something?
Well, this is what I was
how?
going to say was what you've done is improved your weapons. Both you and Inga have spent a lot of time being like weapons, but everyone, everyone
I
loves
have
the
level
long
plus of
ball.
18.
Everyone loves the long ball, but until then all of a sudden you're like, wait, defense is what wins championships. If you want to do an armor thing, you got to get thee to a armory and get some armor. I'm happy to have armor. I mean, also, River, one of the issues with you is that you're never going to use a shield because you're all about the double axe, type of
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
really, it's just weaponry. I will let everybody know that you can have access to certain things. If you get, for example, the highest level you could get, heavy mail, is 16 AC straight up to begin with. Before you even add a shield. If you have heavy mail and a great shield, you end up with a 20, straight up 20 armor class. However, you have disadvantage on stealth, and you're now walking around like a tank. If, on the other hand, you are, let's say, a flowing type of fighter, like, say, a River, you move basically with with your dex modifier. But I will say, though, if you wanted to get something like, are you wearing like a corselet of mail, River?
No,
or-
she's got the feathered armor that Radagast blessed and stuff
Right.
like that. So it is a feathered corselet or something like that.
Right, which would normally have like a 13, and then it's probably better because of the magic plus dex
Yeah.
modifier. That's the highest you can have without getting stealth disadvantage, and it gives you a +2 maximum for your dex modifier. So you could go up and get like a scale hauberk or whatever, but then the heaviness adds these other things to it. So,
It's not about it. Like, I know the dex AC trade-offs and stuff. I was just like, but the opportunities to actually obtain new armor always feel like they're only offered in the fellowship phase, and at the there are so many other things on the go there.
It's true.
So I'm just a little like, wait,
It's
can
true,
I just
but you got weapons
demand
though.
better armor?
No, it's true, but you got better weapons. No, this in this particular case, I think what we are learning is that Bolo probably can't get better armor than what Bolo has
Yeah,
at the moment.
I think that's okay. Does it make sense, or am I forbidden from like using shields or anything? I wonder if it would make sense for him because he's typically using like a sling.
No reason you
Yeah,
couldn't
and-
use a shield. And I'll tell you what else. If you want, Bolo, I'm mostly because I'm in love with this idea. The players can tell me if this is not a good idea. There is no reason that you couldn't use Flank Searer
Yes.
as a shield. I'm just saying. It's basically a buckler, right? Like, I mean,
No,
it's
I mean,
Yeah,
we
it
have
is, yeah.
precedent of this in Disney's Rapunzel, right?
right. We
Tangle?
even have precedence with this in Player Unknown Battleground. I'm going to tell you right now, like they use a pan. So, yes, that would give you
I'm
+2.
I'm getting Bolo this pin. This is the pin I am getting for Bolo. I've decided. It is. There's this part of like.
I like that it says it. Cast iron
Yeah.
pan.
Well, it's because Fox Flight Studios did this series of like queer D&D pins and stuff. So there was like bisexual battle axe, and there's this like we fight as one pin. They're lovely. They have an Etsy shop.
Mal,
Yes.
swing both ways.
Yeah, that's the whole point.
Hey.
Yeah. It was like,
Hey.
so there's like cast iron pan is the pansexual one.
Yep. There. I
But
gotcha.
I just love the actual pin itself. It feels very Bolo to me. not speculating about Bolo's like sexual orientation here, but
Wow.
I do feel like
We're all
it
learning
just-
today.
Yeah, yeah. Foxlight Studio is very nice. Their pins are very good, but they're currently on Etsy strike because Etsy is gouging its creators. So meh.
Oh yeah. God, another company doing that. And
We're
then,
all learning.
And then there's
as is
Substack,
Bolo.
but anyway.
maybe
another
he's
bill. So what I would say about this Bolo is, so I would like to use that since it is a buckler. I think given
Like a
both
+1?
your side, yeah, I was just gonna say +1, but I think that's all. I don't think it would like limit you in any other way, because you're basically used to this, and I just am in love with the idea that you either use it to cook amazing omelets or like prevent death.
Yeah.
I +1.
Yeah, I'll make a note of it, and like I think it'd be something that he wouldn't always do, except in certain circumstances where he feels especially threatened, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I think that's really great. Also, thank you very much, Garlic. That's awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. I'm going to retweet this now. It's very wow. All the notifications. Thank you, everybody. That's super kind of you. Thank you. Okay, and we are up to 834 subscribers, 6 away from the bit of information for the players and for a giveaway. 6 away, chat. Subscribe. You can do it. Make this happen. Okay. So yeah, so we're going to do that. I think that's a good idea, Bolo. Yes. What's up, Inga?
Yeah, speaking of armor, I think I miscalculated my armor class so far.
Okay.
So I have like the Dwarf Rod Hauberk,
Right.
page 158.
Mm-hmm.
When wearing the Dwarf Rod Hauberk, difficult set of words, you gain a +1 bonus to AC in addition to the normal AC bonus of wearing Wary for a total of 17 AC.
Okay. Yeah,
Do
I think
get
that's
my Dex modus on that as well.
no, because the Hauberk doesn't allow for Dex modifiers. That's why the other armor lists it differently. A pan for all seasons driven. So yes. Yeah, that's beneficial. However, you do not suffer disadvantage on stealth rolls.
Yes,
So that's
I
good.
know.
So cool. All right. So assuming that is good to go, Bolo has rolled the hit points. We are all set. I believe we ended our last session with the party literally just setting out, and I did some cutscene where a raven flew past each of the other hunt parties that were on their way. Now, let me remind the party.
Wait,
Peter
weren't we
Jackson
like gonna
flyby.
do some stuff here at the Iron Hills before we leave?
You were going to do more stuff? It's possible. I thought you already had done a lot, but you
No,
could do
like,
more if you wish.
Inga still needs to deliver the armor and also, meet her family, but we can skip that.
Oh, well no, I mean, I don't want to zip past. I mean, yes, I guess you're right. Is what I'm saying. I guess you're right. The only
Like, I don't mind, skipping over that, just like, okay, this and that happens. Done.
because well, the reason was because I think we had said that was basically the case, that you were going to visit them, because we did role play out even King Dane agreeing with Inga about giving the armor to that family and stuff. So
if you don't have anything prepped for that, then we can just do that as a flashback at some point.
okay, yeah, remind me and we will definitely do that, because I think I do have that. So
Yeah,
She
sure.
laughs.
I'll remind you at the beginning of next session where you also won't have anything prepared for that.
I just feel like no, I'll try to make a note for myself.
Okay.
Okay. So all right, but then assuming, was there anything else that anyone had otherwise? Because I do want to remind everybody that remember, we've got this dragon hunt which is going. So recall the way that this works here is the hunt score measures how aware the dragon is of you, of the heroes. And as you leave, it starts at a starting score of 7. And the dragon's hunt score will increase by +1 for each day that passes, and will increase by +1 when a hero rolls a natural 1 on an ability check. There are other events that will increase the hunt score, but that'll be noted in different individual encounters that you have, or if you engage in sort of odd behavior, like if you're just like, we're going to kill a dragon, what? Kill, like that kind of thing, yelling in the wastes or whatever. That's also going to be aware of these things. This is not affected by shadow point gain or anything anything like that. That's a separate deal. When the score increases, the company must make a dragon awareness check, and on a failure, the dragon goes hunting. Then when the dragon hunt happens, these things will occur. So that's just a note to kind of keep these things in mind. Also, you've heard, I believe, many stories about dragons. I believe we talked about that last time. And the last thing I think we had decided to do was to talk about what path you were taking across the waste, because there were multiple ways to do it. You could go straight for Zarakanbar, which would have required you to go basically like more or less like that, right, straight to the northwest. Benefit of that is that it's faster. Drawback is that then you get to spend even more time in everyone's favorite place, the waste. So there's that. But the other option that you folks had considered was going this way instead, because there is an area, basically, a person who lives in a house there called Gainar. And Gainar's house basically is a farmhouse. It's almost like the last rest stop before 700 miles of hell. This is the last place that you can go, and you do believe that was the direction at least some of the other parties on the hunt were going to. So the party could go there, then go north, and they would that way stay out of the waste for longer, and they would also get a chance to check in and see what their, in quotes, friendly rivals are doing on this hunt. The only issue with that is that it takes longer. So those were the two options, and I think the party said they were going to head west rather than going directly through the waste, but correct me if I'm wrong. If that's not true, does that sound right?
I think that was the
Well,
plan.
like the thing is that like there would be no suspicion raised to our party if we would first go to the Erebor and then go from there. And
Right.
also, what I'm just thinking about is since Inga was involved in the like rebuilding of the Erebor, is there a chance that she might know any like quote unquote secret exits that like would allow them to like pass out of the Erebor unseen to the north side?
I think yes. I think what I'll say is that's actually, it makes sense. So what I'll say is if you go this route, I will give you the opportunity to make a check when you arrive, Inga, to use those secret routes. And if you do so, I will decrease the hunt score by 1.
Nice.
So I'll drop it down, but that's not a guarantee. It depends on whether, once you get there, you have to make a check. But yes, I think that's a good call. That's a good call. And that would, if you went out that way, that would lead you directly towards Gainar's farmhouse, which was the place you were thinking about going.
How long would taking the direct route from here to the Erebor take?
So if you went directly from here to the Erebor, assuming that you went like at pretty top pace, like not maybe full out gallop, but like going pretty quickly, don't sleep for like 12 hours at night, that type of thing, you would probably be able to make that journey in about 4 days. I think it took you about a week to get here, and you weren't going at the same speed. So if you were going at the same speed, like 4 days.
At Haven, and also we weren't like
Exactly. Exactly. So you were taking longer. So I would say about 4.5 days.
Okay.
Um,
Does it make a difference that this is known lands for Inga?
Yes. Oh, yeah. This is absolutely known lands.
No, does it make a difference to the length of the journey?
Oh, I see. No, not to the length of the journey, because it's literally just it's just like transit time. It's not a matter of finding the route, because you already pretty much know the route. So
Okay.
I'll think about that, X-Men.
In terms of length, the direct route into the waste without going to the Erebor, can we compare like how much time are we adding? Or rather, like, no, sorry, that's not what I'm asking. How much time are we shortening in the waste? Is it a matter of like 1 fewer days in the waste, 2 fewer days in the waste if we go the Erebor route?
I would say, and we just hit 835, 5 subs away from information for the party and for a game giveaway, chat. 5 more YouTube subs. Keep it up. I would say that if you look just at the way that the stuff looks, I would say that you would probably be able to reach the, let's say here ish, right? The southern border. You could probably do that in about 5 days, as opposed to 4 days to get here and then another 3 to 4 days north. So you would save a couple of days going across the waste. However, first of all, this is not the same kind of known land benefit that you would get for going in that area. So you might run into more, obstacles. It's obviously much more inhospitable. And so that might slow down your travel. So it might be that the benefit might only be a day, but it's hard to tell because that depends on what happens in the waste. So you're saving, if you go directly across the waste, you're saving anywhere from like a day to maybe 3 days. And 3 days it's a good amount of time saved. 1 day, but again, you don't know that until you're in the waste. And there's all the effects of like shadow and all that too. So.
Right. I think it makes sense to, so this is actually what River would also say in terms of like the two options, because River, never wants to go into the waste, hates the waste. The waste is bad for her in terrible ways. But nevertheless, like, wants to have a serious tactical rationale for not going into the waste as opposed to just not liking it. And what she'll point out is that we're already a day or so behind the other groups, which means that if they do find the dragon first, then they may be the worse for wear. We essentially will be arriving as sort of fresh troops, and preserving every advantage that we have in that event is probably better than wearying ourselves in the waste before actually confronting the dragon. And so I think that, anyway, going the Erebor route and then going north makes sense. Also, River is slightly hoping that maybe they will actually run into Greystroke and Scrafira Silvertongue. I have taken so many notes. Look at all my notes.
It's great. I love all the notes. I love all those notes. Also, Arudinel has inspired. Arudinel's inspired Inga for that check when you get there. So,
hooray!
Wait, what?
Yeah, you have been inspired for that skill for that check by Arudinel. Also, Arudinel with the great joke: two fish are swimming upriver. One hits a wall, turns to the other, and says, "Damn." Aw, yeah.
River got inspired or Inga? Or both?
Inga got it, not the river.
Okay.
Inga got the inspiration from Arudinel.
Ito.
Yeah.
Thank you, Arudinel.
Okay. So, all right. So it sounds like the party is more or less in agreement of heading not across the waste yet. Basically, if I understand this correctly.
Can you give us a big map back so that we can see the rest of the route?
Sure. Give me a second. So the big map.
Big Mac.
While you're doing that, Arv, I have a question for you, Brad. Is it just the camera, or is the wainscoting and the picture not level? Because it looks like you're in a fun house. It looks like they're coming together to a point in the corner.
I think it's that perspective, right?
Right. That's why I'm wondering.
Yeah.
So, like, if we do it like
it was. Wow, it totally was.
Yeah. Okay.
My goodness, ladies and gentlemen, perspective. Sorry, I should say peoples of not ladies and gentlemen. Sorry, peoples of the world.
I get super small if I just go back a couple of feet, right? And then if I get closer, I get really big quickly.
Yeah.
Like those weird perspective rooms.
Yeah, Brad is actually only 2'5" in real life, so it just the fisheye lens increases considerably. So okay.
So
yes.
Where we are going to the Withered Heath, right?
Correct. So because Zera and Kabar.
Bolo says this is the way.
This is the way.
Yeah.
This is the way.
Yeah, in that case.
Wait, I missed it, Brad. Do it again.
Yes.
This is the way.
This is the way. Yes. God, I love Mandalorian so
but
much.
yeah, in that case, definitely would want to go through the Northern Daylands because it's also known lands to Inge. So It's like a huge advantage to not go through the waste on every
Inga
fucking
knows
level.
all the
Oh
lands.
yeah.
Yes.
That's
Okay,
right.
I'm glad to have seen the big map because I had forgotten we were heading to the Withered Heath. I was like, oh, we're heading into the waste, so it seems like 6 of one, half dozen of the
Yeah.
other. But no, if we're heading to the frickin' Heath, then yes, let us stay as far out of the waste as possible.
Yeah, now there is going to be a stage where you're going to have to cross into the waste for a little bit because otherwise you're going to like lose a week or more going around like here. So you are going to have to cut through of it, but the difference is you cut through here as opposed to cutting through here, right? Like I mean, you're in the waste for much less time. Withered Heath is bad enough. Withered Heath is even worse than the waste. So,
Would
you know,
walk like this, right? Roughly.
yeah, exactly. Yep,
Yeah. Okay.
exactly. So, all right, cool. All right, so.
So, like, basically, we pretend that we are just going home to the Erebor, then we sneak out of the Erebor and make our way north, correct?
Right, exactly. An important note. I think you said it quite well, Inga, just as a reminder to the party. I know you already probably know this, but just as a reminder, because you knew this from last time, that the not only speed, but the need to keep your movements somewhat, concealed. Not you don't have to like travel under cover of darkness, but yeah, like it's all like just going back to the Erebor or whatever. Not, I'm going to hunt a dragon. Like that's going to be very important because the dragon, remember, has spies too. It's not just the dragon.
Yes. that's
So,
right.
like for example, a raven known as Freaky. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just joking. Why would Freaky ever be an embedded spy? I don't know what you're talking about.
That is
okay.
just evil. Evil.
Wow.
Makes note.
Evil.
Okay. So suddenly Lillimon
Critical
is like,
alignment shift for the DM.
Lillimon just shifts his head and suddenly is like, and I got away with it too. Rip. And it's just like, Lillimon was actually a secret dragon all along. Okay. So the party sets off then to the west across the upper marches. And this is known land. And so for the first day or so, everything is fairly copacetic. Nothing really extreme happens to that degree. So as you're moving for the first day, not too much happens. But on the morning of the second day, so now the hunt starting score has gone up to 8. I shouldn't say starting. I should say current score. Dragon hunt. Let me just write that down. Yes, that's spelled with a G, Greg. Yes. Drugan, yes. Current score is 8. And the starting score was 7. Okay. So, as the party wakes up the next morning, I need to find out actually from the party. I should have put this as a journey. This is not technically a journey in the traditional sense, but we do have the traditional kind of roles that I want us to take. So we need, first of all, our scout. In previous times, it's been Bolo who's done that. Do you want it to stay Bolo or not?
Or can you remind us of the attached stats?
Yes. So I can. So for journeys, as you're engaged in these things, there we go. It works like this. The scout is in charge of setting up camp and opening new trails, and they rely on stealth and investigation. So that's what the scout does. The guide is in charge of all the decisions concerning route, rest, and supplies.
That's
The guide relies on wisdom and survival, and yeah, I think that's traditionally been Inga because of the known land
yeah,
stuff.
but also it's known land, so we only get my benefits if I'm the guide.
Right. So there's that,
So I have a
and
bird
then
now.
so that we have the guide. The hunter, I think, has been Tani. Has traditionally done that, in charge of finding food in the wild. That's pretty straight ahead, normal. And then last is the lookout, in charge of keeping watch. Now, this is going to be important here in this particular thing because for obvious reasons. So that I think traditionally has been you, River, playing, and that relies on perception in particular. So if that sounds good to everybody, is that cool?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
That's right. Yeah.
So then it's the lookout that I'm going to be speaking to about this. Because on the morning, as you wake up on the morning of the first day after travel, I would like you, please. Oh, actually, this will be the check that you see. So you are looking at out at sort of the world as the morning dawns. You are quite a distance from Haven to the north. river, but maybe, you can look to the south and imagine perhaps Ash is looking just now in the same morning up to the north where you might be. And you're looking there, and then you note in the sky, in the gathering light, a series of black specks. And your first reaction to that is just like, oh, it's ravens, because, except that the ravens are much closer to you, theoretically, than these are. And these are actually coming not from the south, but from the north. And they are coming fast. And in fact, there's a whole flock of them that you can see. Clearly flying creatures of some kind.
What time of day is this?
We're talking morning after the sun has already risen. So maybe like, I would say maybe 8 in the morning. It's, so they're coming quickly. Your companions are still asleep, but you are going to be waking up soon anyway. But these things are coming fast.
River is going to wake them up immediately and say, just like wake them quickly and say, quick, there's something in the sky.
I need you to make a stealth check for me as you do this, River.
As I wake them?
Yes, as you're heading to wake them.
Oh, I see.
Can the ravens fly? So I said to the man, shut up. so good. That's exactly how I feel about that question.
Cool.
Condor eggs can feed a hobbit or two. That's funny, Lexi.
So that'll be 15.
Very nice. And the current hunt score is actually the DC, so you succeed. You manage to get back to the party and get underground just as flocks fly overhead, like birds flying overhead with a rush of wings and wind. And as they cross over, you look up and can see the black and cruel faces of these creatures. Almost certainly these are Krebane. Now, you may know that the Krebane are birds that are often used by fell creatures. Like many other things, the Krebane are kind of almost mockeries of ravens that, of course, are good and friendly. They are the enemies of the ravens, and they never mean anybody well. When they show up, it's usually a bad sign. And you see them flying over, right, and then passing around, doing a couple of passes as all of you are under, I would assume, like some gorse brush and, stuff like that as they go. Actually, I am curious, Inga, how you would conceal Lillimon. I'm curious about that.
I actually have a suggestion. What I was imagining was that we've got blankets and things, right?
Sure.
And so I'm sort of imagining that what River would have done. Sorry, I was like only half alert when it came time to do my own lookout thing. Anyway, if we've got blankets and things, then I imagine Lillimon could just stay kneeling on the ground, and like from above, so long as the blanket sort of matches the surrounding area, then it can just be topography. So I imagine just like piling some brush or dirt even on top of the blanket that's on top of Lillimon and stone, and potentially the rest of us. Essentially, we could just be like using some brush for ourselves, but just covering Lillimon from above to look like a rock, basically, would be fine.
Assuming Inga's okay with that.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Because when you do that and then sort of dive underneath as these creatures pass, Lillimon kind of looks, as you're doing this, Lillimon looks a little bit like a little confused as to why this is happening, but passes overhead, and of course Freki can just huddle down, and Stone is sort of flat and underneath the brush and kind of has his ears back, but River, as you're lying next to them, all of you actually can hear a kind of just a very low, quiet growl as these creatures fly overhead, and then cawing madly, they wheel and then head back to the north. Also, flocks of birds, they will go in one direction, but they're not usually like this coordinated where it's like, 1, 2, and then head back in another direction. So clearly there was something wrong here.
Are these the same creatures that attacked us at Seldwyn?
They are the same creatures, yes.
Okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure, because I was figuring that the River would have remembered that.
That's right. And those were from the sort of the orcs and goblins of the south. From the north, though, as you know, Gundabad is up to the north, and other such bad things. So, well, thank you, Garlic Tofu. I appreciate it. The top-notch sound effects brought to you by my vocal cords. Okay, so other than that, though, once that passes, they are gone, and you were able to then make your way again to the west. Another day passes, and I would say that puts you probably now about here, right about there, so about midway.
Just move our tokens?
Yeah, your tokens are. You should be able to move them. I think you should be able to have control over them.
We really need a party token for when the whole party is moving across the world.
That's true. Oh, we should do one of. We should do one of just like the whole group shot. Of that, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, at some point I'll get to that. Anyway, I wanted to say that I am telling Freki that while we are on the road, to like basically fly ahead and like scout, basically assist Bolo.
Okay.
Scouting.
All right. I just realized I found you, Trent. I was like, "Where's Tani?" I was like, "Tani's like, I'm out. I'm done with this.
I'm back
I'm
home.
done with this shit.
Done.
I'm back home." Okay. So.
Also, I would have like instructed Freki before we left, like with a whistling signal that like means to come back.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I will keep that in mind. There may be benefits to this. All right. So.
I just want one quick question,
Sure.
just for my own sheet maintenance. We have had a short rest between when we concluded the audience
Yes.
and set out,
Yes.
right? Okay, just make sure.
Not a
I
long,
spent
not a long rest, but a short rest. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Perfect.
Also.
Let's make sure my dice were back. up.
Also, 836 out of 1,000. 4 subs away from the extra bit of information for the party and the giveaway game. So let's do it, chap. Programming note also for everybody, we will be playing for another hour and a half. We'll play till 3:15. So that is the plan, so the party knows. Okay. The second day goes along, and again, more or less goes without too much incident. It's actually, I don't want to say it's too quiet, but it's definitely quieter than might be normal for this time of year as you cross over the upper marshes. But as the evening draws near, and as you're preparing to make camp, there is a moment where you're walking along, and I would say this probably is Bolo first. Bolo, you're walking along, and suddenly you feel your body shifting, like sort of moving around. And for a moment, you don't even know what's going on. And when you put your hand to the ground, you can tell that the ground itself feels to be rumbling slightly.
How far away from the party am I when I'm
That would be up
scouting?
to you
How
as to
far?
how far you'd want to scout. I assume not within, visual distance, I assume. So,
Yeah.
right? You tell me.
Yeah, maybe a
Have you
couple
got
hundred
Freaky
yards
with you?
type thing.
And Freaky is with you. I mean, Freaky's sort of scouting ahead, so you could send Freaky back if you wanted to, yeah.
Yep. She would have like Inga would have told Freki and Bolo how basically a different whistling signal, so that Bolo can call him while he's scouting.
And can Frankie deliver messages of any sort?
Yes, he
He
can.
talks.
Like what kind? Like words?
Carry messages. The Raven can deliver messages anywhere in the region, passing its contents to others of his kin. So
Is that written messages or
you
verbal?
can talk, so you can
Yeah.
just tell him.
They
Okay.
understand the speech of men and communicate with dwarves. So
Okay. All right. Well, I will tell Frankie to let the group know that there's can they be, how complex can they be? Just normal speech?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, basically.
Ravens are basically human level
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yeah,
in this
yeah,
world,
pretty much.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
They'll speak in somewhat longer term, but that kind of thing.
I'll tell Frankie that
They'll roll their R's
there's-
really hard.
You shut up, you.
No,
Sorry.
actually.
I don't want to hear actually. I can't roll my R's, so
No,
fine,
that
all
was,
right?
that was actually not a jab at you. That was just me referencing the absolutely fantabulous German audio play of the Hobbit.
Oh, really?
Where-
Where it's just
Yeah.
tons of R's? I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's very hard case and a lot of rolling R's, basically. So that's how ravens speak.
I see.
All right.
Okay.
So I'll tell Frankie like what I'm feeling, and before I send him off, I'll just ask, could you fly higher and see if you can see anything? I'm feeling something strange on the ground is shifting or something. Can you see anything up ahead?
I will do what must be done. It should be known that when we travel high, we do not see what the ground creatures can feel, but to what I can, I will try. And he takes off and sort of circles above. And you notice that Freki, who is, relatively speaking, younger and stronger of wing, that's what a younger and stronger of wing raven sounds like. Forget about the old ones that are around it.
It's here an old one, yeah.
The ravens in general are pretty old. And so, but he heads up far up, and at one point you almost lose sight of the speck in the air, Bolo, while the ground continues to rumble below you. And at this point, I would say that Tani and Inga and the river can start feeling that rumbling too, a little bit. And Freki, not much though, just very faint. Freki returns and sort of alights in front of you and tilts his head and says, I have seen from the far north, smoke rises from the distant mountains. This may be something of the dragon's work. He stirs and the earth rumbles in reply, trembling and groaning with his power. The doom may be upon us sooner than we wish. I need all members of the company to make a corruption check for me, please.
Oh, Freaky
This is a wisdom
bit
saving
dramatic,
throw.
isn't he?
I am a raven, so my
Once a
luck.
raven, nevermore.
My father
wisdom
was in
save,
Cirque
yeah.
du Soleil. All right, Mom. So
Wisdom
yes, this is a
save,
wisdom saving throw. Oh,
Wait, let me.
this is all
check.
going tremendously.
Aha! You have advantage when making wisdom saving throws against corruption caused by blighted lands you know. Does this count as.
This is not a bladed land.
Oh,
Sorry, not a bladed land.
Great.
So that looks to me like a set of straight fails all the way around. My heavens. Okay. What that means is as you feel the weight of this primordial monster sort of stirring, each of you is going to gain a shadow point. So with River, that's 4. With Bolo,
Oh, wait.
that's 3.
does Stone have to make one too?
Yes, I was gonna get to Stone.
Oh, and
Inga with
Philemon and
9.
Freaky as well.
With 9 with Inga, and then 5 with Tawny. I
have
don't think
stats for
I don't think
Freaky.
Freki needs to do this because Freki is not going to be involved in combat operations unless you want Freki to be a warbird, in which
No,
case we have to
no,
talk. So that's why Lilimon doesn't necessarily make those rolls either. It does affect them in general terms, and I'm keeping track of that separately, but not as points. Stone, though, is different because basically is another combatant. So the only one, interesting. So the only one who actually makes the save is Stone. And so as this is happening and that you can now feel the earth rumbling, and it's not what Freki said that basically told you this, Bolo. It's just like, the general sense of dread that everyone feels. But Stone comes over to you, River, and kind of, as he often does to get your attention, gently bumps his head into your leg. And assuming you look down at him, kind of looks up and nuzzles his head under your hand as if to say, we have seen this before and have come through it. You don't lose your shadow point, but it does that you gained, but he does not gain one.
River
So-
pets him and actually drop down to her knees and cuddle him a little bit.
Go ahead, Bolo.
Quick question. So
Sure.
on the fellowship phase, I think I got rid of that miserable in deep places.
You did.
Condition.
You did.
Did that also get rid of the
No,
resistance
it was one or
against
the other.
corruption?
I thought about that, but it was one of the. Oh, I'm sorry. Say it again. I beg your pardon. I interrupted you before you told me what
Well,
you were going to say.
that was a 2-part bargain. I was miserable in deep places, but I had resistance against corruption otherwise.
Yes,
if
that's
I was
right.
Not in-
No, I don't think it got rid of that. No. So you can, because you have
think that-
resistance.
Allows me to remove one shadow point. So, like if I gain 2, I would gain 1 instead.
So
I
this
think
is
that's
to a
how
minimum of
resist-
1, so you can't resist it completely. So it would be, so it means you don't go down to 0. As you said, if you got 4, it would be 3. If you got 2, it'd be 1. But it's to a minimum of 1. So,
Right.
but that is a good thing to remember, and please, definitely don't forget that, because no, you did not lose that.
Okay.
You gained the half of the bargain that you liked. Okay, so anyway, that happens, and that was in account of the also the dragon hunt score, which has gone up now to 9. Okay, now it's gone up twice, and so I actually forgot to do this, but I need to do this here. So I need the party to make the company to make dragon awareness checks. Now I will explain how that works.
But before you do that, did Inga actually make her roll to lower our dragon score?
Yes, that's why you started out with a 7 instead of a. No, you're not at the place yet. You have to do that when you get to the area.
When
get
we
to the
arrive.
Lonely Mountain. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. So let me grab my little book with the information about the 2 scores.
Really wish I could use Twitch right now, because this would be a great moment to share a link to Erebor by Windrose.
You could just drop it into our Zoom chat, and I could pop it in.
Oh, I suppose.
That's true. Okay, let's see.
That's just the theme song now for. Oh, that is loud. Oop,
There we go.
Okay,
So nice when I got to see them live. Remember live concerts back in the day?
I do. I do remember them. Okay. So, yes, so you have to make an awareness check. Okay. So, the company as a group rolls a d40 and adds the Veil score to the result. So, at the moment, your at the moment's equal to.
Did you say a D40?
No, not D40. So you have basically a you have essentially a Veil score, which can affect in positive ways the hunt that you go through. So right now you are traveling through free or borderlands, which means you have +2 to your Veil score. You are traveling under false names. You're taking action to be discreet and unobtrusive. So that is another +2. That's 4 points here. So you start with a 4 to begin with. And you are also have been protected by the blessing of a wizard, specifically Radagast here. So you have a total of 8. That's the good news. Bad news is that you have earned great renown because you are the heroes of Dale. So you are, you're not that secret. So that's -2, which means you have a 6. And as you get to other lands, you're going to be, that may have an effect and sort of lower this. But at the moment, your Veil score is a 6. Now, why does that matter, you say? Because when you do this check that I just mentioned, what you're going to do this Veil check is you are going to roll a d20, one of the 4 of you. You will add the Veil score, which is 6, to that result. You can spend inspiration to grant advantage on the check if you wish. And the difficulty for the check is equal to the current hunt score. Right now, the current hunt score, the first one that you would do, the current hunt score is 8. You have a Veil of 6, so all you have to do is roll basically a 2 or better on a d20, and then you pass that awareness check. So,
what about those 4 prep d6 die that I have written down?
The prep dice, I think, might be able to help with that. The prep dice, though...
Saving those until we're actually confronting the dragon is probably a better call. But,
Yeah, okay. Fair.
Yeah, and that's also attack damage, saving throw ability check, or add the result to your AC as a reaction to attack. Yeah, I mean, I would allow you to use it if you wish, but I agree that these are pretty precious, so, that's something to think about.
And I can't remember,
I
is
should
it...
probably roll because I have inspiration that I can use. And I do need to use it up this month. Are we playing another time this month?
I think so. And
okay.
I think so. And any or all of you can spend an inspiration if you have one to affect this, so you know. So you don't have to be the same person rolling that does the inspiration. It's up to you.
No, go ahead. I think as guide, Inga, I think it makes sense for you to roll it.
Okay.
Okay, so it's just a d20, yeah?
So it's just a d20, and we're going to add 6 to that score. And you're doing it, I think, at advantage, you said, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Wait,
That is...
are you joking?
So you rolled a
I
1
rolled a
or a
4.
4?
I rolled a 4.
You rolled a
Wow.
4. Now, let's see, 4, and then what is that?
6.
So you roll, okay, you rolled a 4, and then we add to that 6, which is a good thing.
Just beat
You
it.
just beat it, yes. So that was the first check. Now the second check, that's one, because one check per every time the hunt score goes up. So the second check is for the second day. The hunt score is now 9, so you have to roll it again. Now you're not going to get advantage again. You got it on that first time, and you needed
Can
it.
I do it
actually.
this time?
It's up to you.
want-
Oh, wow.
Do it.
All right.
So you're just rolling 1 this time.
Unless someone wants to give me inspiration.
That's true, unless someone in chat wishes to inspire you.
Yes.
When-
Does anyone in the chat want to give us an inspiration? Do. No, nothing going?
No, doesn't look like it.
All right. Well, alternately, I could give an inspiration to Tawny if Tren wants to roll instead.
What say you, Tren?
What?
Yes. You want to roll? Here, I'll inspire you to roll a d20 so that we can roll two Ds 20.
Also, Effect Life has one, so it's up to you if you want to. Do you want to use that? You do have inspiration. You could use it if you wish, Effect Life, and then Amal would save her. So it's up to.
that
It's
would
up
be
to
nice.
whether you want to do that, Effect Life. Do you? I will see whether Effect Life does or does not. While you're doing this and you're thinking, wow, this is a really good moment. There's a lot of tension here. What can I be doing to relieve that tension? How about following me on YouTube? Because 4 more of those will give the players a bit of information and will give you a game giveaway. 8:36. Yeah, Tani, I guess, is fine. It doesn't really matter. Tani will do the roll.
When you say that a bit of information, is it going to be like the dragon's grinder handle for me?
Oh no! Sorry, I was gonna say Effect Life. It's like I can inspire Tawny. I was gonna. It doesn't matter.
It
so
doesn't
long as
matter.
somebody has-
That's
yeah,
fine.
yeah.
You can make it that you're inspired if you want to be the one who does this, Amal. That's fine.
Okay.
So you are sub live suing, but you have to support at either a tier 2 or be supporting the Patreon at the $10 level. You don't get it for the tier 1 sub, unfortunately. Only tier 2 and up. So that's why. Okay, so all right, you've been inspired, River. In this case, I'm sure Effect Life won't mind that. So
Great.
you know the deal. We're going to roll a d20. You're going to add 6, and you're looking for a target of 9 or better.
Yep. So we're rolling 2 d20.
No, you're rolling 1 d20
Oh,
because
sorry.
you're not rolling at advantage.
I thought I had inspiration.
Oh, you have inspiration. I'm sorry. I'm a buffoon. Never mind.
Okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
So
that is
14,
a
yeah.
14 plus 6.
So
Or
a
20.
20. Yes, you easily this time are able to avoid increasing awareness. All right, good work.
Thank you, Effect Life.
Good stuff, Effect Life.
Yes.
The Dragon's fave films. You could start talking it instantly. Okay, good stuff. So, all right. So that's day 2. Day 3, as Erebor begins to loom closer, and you know you're only a couple of days away, passes again relatively uneventfully as you go through. But as you reach the morning of the third day, I would say, I guess this would be the river again. Let me just make sure that that's, yeah, okay. I would say this is the river again. There is, give me 1 second, I'm not understanding what it's telling me to do.
Would you like to say it's the river again?
Okay. Okay, no, day three is fine. Day 3 actually doesn't have anything happen, so you're all good. But the score does increase on the morning of day 3 to bring us to 10. So I need you to make that awareness check again.
Okay. Do you want to do it this time, Tawny? I'm passing it around so that we all do it. I'll inspire you.
The favorite film is Dragonheart with Dennis Quaid and Sean Connery. I feel like my favorite dragon in terms of like just the fear of the dragon is Dragon Slayer. The image of that dragon like head just staggering to me. Okay. Right. So Amal has inspired Tani. All right, Tani. So you're going to roll this time again 2 20-sided dice. Take the higher result and you're adding 6 to the roll. You're looking for a 10 or better now.
I would like to vote for Haku from Spirited Away.
Best.
As far as dragons go.
Well, so
Oh my god.
Yep. So
Joking.
Rip.
the dragon
Well, we do have the D6, right? Can we still add those?
not well. I don't think you can do that after the fact. Let me just double check.
I'm gonna use a hero point.
It
No,
doesn't
it's the wrong
say.
game.
Yeah.
Well,
It doesn't say. You could.
Use Karma.
You could.
Oh, also wrong game.
You could, but the
I could-
problem is it wouldn't get you there, right? You'd need to roll. You'd need to use 2 because it would give you a maximum of 6, and you're looking for 10.
right, but so this is the 2 plus 6 that brings us to 8. What's our dragon score at?
10. So yes, you could use a preparation die if you rolled a 2 or better.
Another thing we could potentially do, I think, is this a situation where a warden's gift dice could be used because of, let's see, rather than, where's my, come on, sorry, it's not loading. Okay, so, do warden's gift. Yes, I can gift 1d8 to the person of my choice. So, yeah.
Is that? Let's make sure we know on what that's.
It's not just a combat thing. It is. This is the warden's gift. You can inspire others through stirring words, through music, or by your presence alone. Can gift 1d8 to person of choice.
After it rolls the d20, but before it says whether it succeeds or fails. Well, that doesn't quite apply here because you all know the
Because we
target
all
score
know
you're going
the
for.
target.
So that's fine. Yes, you could do that too.
All right. I am bequeathing unto you, Tawny, 1d8. Roll high.
Yeah, roll a 2 or better.
Oh, I was supposed to roll high? Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to say that one's on
That's
me.
okay.
4, okay. And again, the party avoids potential disaster.
Ah! We're
okay.
not even in the waste yet, you
I
guys.
know. Okay, and that brings
Does
us
this have
to.
anything to do with the peril rating, by the way?
No, that's tied into the issue of like what land you're traversing. So like the peril of the journey is something you might get into after you leave the last homely house, so to speak, Girar's, farmhouse. Then you might have to start worrying about that.
Okay.
Also, is
Because,
this just a-
that one does get lowered by 2 because of
Right. Yeah, but that's not the peril rating. That will have, because this is not a traditional journey as such. Remember I mentioned that's on the way though.
This is like, the way I'm reading this is all of the normal stuff, but a dragon is on the loose.
That's
and
it.
therefore we're suddenly at risk of corruption while in our green and pleasant lands and stuff like that.
That's right.
But also, quick question, I forget, just for my own, do we have another session this month? Or is
We
this
do.
just, we do?
I think we do.
Have 3 sessions this month?
We have no, because we've only had 1 session so far, right, in this month, because we didn't have it last week.
Yeah, correct.
Oh yeah, today's the 12th, that's right. Okay, yes, sorry, 2 weeks ago was March. This is very difficult to keep in my brain. Okay, sorry.
Yes, so you will have another session. Yes.
Cool.
All right. On day 4, you are drawing right up to the Erebor. In fact, at the end of this day, you will have arrived in the Lonely Mountain. As you are walking into the Lonely Mountain, though, the score is going to increase one more time, and we're going to have one more of these veil checks. So now the target is 11. You have a 6 that you could start with, so you need to roll a 5 or better on a d20. Who wants a hold of this?
Well, Brad has.
Go,
been
Bolo.
there, so-
Bolo's turn.
All right, here we go.
Remember, roll high.
Ha ha ha.
Like that! Exactly.
Yes! Hooray!
Hey, there we
Good
go.
thing I said it.
That's
Otherwise.
no problem. Yeah, you get there
I
without
was just about to roll low too.
any
totally-
issues at all.
You
Okay.
know, it absolutely makes sense to me that the stealthiest person rolling managed to like get us under the veil and stuff.
Hide,
awesome.
hide. Okay. The Lonely Mountain
thing I
Mat
can fit you
after
all in my
Orkin
pocket.
Grinder. Really, Big Boss? Yes. Okay. So you enter the Erebor. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do a check with Inga to see whether or not these secret ways and routes end up working the way that Inga hopes that they will. And if so, that score will be reduced so that the hunt score would drop by 1.
Well, we would be entering through the front gate, right? So
It's up to
or,
you.
like,
That's up to
one
you.
of the main gates.
Sure.
Like entering, like visibly entering, is no
Yep.
issue.
And then leave. Right. Not entering
Like
secretly, but
basically,
leaving
like
secretly.
Inga would store Lilleman because this time she's not gonna bring him along because last time was too horrible.
Okay. That's good to know.
But like also probably need to like this is the last chance to like grab supplies and stuff. So oh, hello.
Hello.
Oh my goodness.
You're
A
muted.
person.
But hi.
Hi, Joy.
That's Joanne.
Hi Joanne. So probably should like fill up on rations while we are here, right?
I mean, how many are we planning on feeding to the dragon?
All of them?
All of them.
All of them.
I think isn't it
No,
more what the dragon is planning on, not what you all are planning on?
Like, I have to be legit here. I have not been keeping track of rations at all because for most of the time we just don't need any. So.
Right,
Yeah,
because of
I
what the
mean-
hunter has been doing as well. So
Yeah.
that's kind of my assumption. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
might get more difficult once you enter the waste, but that's
But we've also been have we not been supplied with cram? Like, is that not something that we are?
yes, that was given to
Oh, yeah.
you, and you were all really excited about it.
Yeah.
Not so much.
So how many
Speaking of
rations
cram-
did we
Wow,
get
yeah.
then?
Well done, Brad.
This would be like cram.
Grammatically
wouldn't
on
it?
point.
Kind of,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah, yeah.
man! Oh no, I want some. Oh,
Seriously.
lunch.
Yeah, okay, then if we don't need anything, then yeah, I suppose like Inga would store Lilleman. And then
Fold him
sneak
up, stick him in a
everybody-
drawer.
And then start sneaking up to the secret exit to the
The secret
north.
exit. And I assume, by the way, that you're not staying longer than just the time you need to just rest, right? Because of the need for
Yeah.
speed, so to speak.
Yeah, we would probably wait for nightfall then.
Yeah, I
to
figured.
Get out. Yeah.
I figured.
Like I'm assuming it's like less than a day to get to what's his name's house?
Reiner. Geiner.
Geiner, yep. Also, we're up to 837, 3 away from a piece of information for the party and,
Come on,
and a game
guys!
giveaway. Okay,
Can you remind me how to check inspiration totals? I thought I was doing it.
it's
in the chat.
inspiration dash have. I think you were doing has.
Yes. Oh, inspiration who? There we go. That's what I wanted.
Is it exclamation point inspiration?
Yeah, exclamation
is.
point inspiration space dash have. But I think I see you on there though, Mel, on that list.
Yeah. Cool. Just making sure. I couldn't
Friends
remember
got
if I
2 as
selected it
well,
last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are all reset from last month.
So at what time of day do we arrive here?
So you would arrive here fairly late, I would say, probably like early evening, late afternoon, 5:30, 6 p.m., something like that.
Okay, then I guess we short rest and leave.
And then
I
leave from there.
suppose,
So,
because by
yeah,
then-
what I
by
was
that
going to
time
say,
it should
actually,
be dark.
do you want to leave? So if you're leaving under the cover of darkness, like that evening,
Yeah.
then you would do so without making another check. So that's fine with me if that's what you want to do. Is that what people want to do?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. It means that you'd be resting. You'd either push through and possibly get tired the next day, or you would rest during the day at some point, to be able to take the short rest. So that's up to
I
you.
think that makes sense because we also don't want to super alert people to our presence here, right? So resting during the day would mean less being seen, would mean just not being out and about.
Right.
I think Inga would probably inform their parents that she's gonna be gone for a while, but not like saying what exactly we are doing. Just like,
Right.
hey, King sent me to like do a thing.
Mhm.
Important clan
Secret
chief,
mission.
work
Yeah.
business.
Yep.
Um, take care of the pony. So
Okay,
yeah.
they will do that. Okay, so we got that. Okay, good. Right. So I need you now to make your check. So what I'm going to have you make is, let's see, got the known lands thing. I clearly have too many books. What? That's nonsense. No one ever has too many books. Okay.
Burgess Meredith did.
Oh, are you talking about from the whatchamacallit, from the Twilight Zone with the glasses? Finally have all the time. Oh god, it's so chilling. Okay. I'm going to have you make, let's see. Oh, this is a tough call. I think I'll have you make a survival check here, Inga. I think that's what it would be, to know these kind of secret routes. I thought about it being as lore.
Question.
But yes.
Given the fact that we have a hobbit who's especially good at finding secret ways and things, can he assist to give her advantage?
Wouldn't I be getting advantage anyway because I know this place really well?
You're going to be getting right. You're going to be making a check. You're going to be getting advantage for it. So yeah, I would say that there probably wouldn't be. Yeah, Bolo could do it on his own, and be like, "Screw you, I'm taking my waffle fries and finding my own route." But assuming that's not it, then
does this count as a personal event test?
No, this is a group check. I mean, you're using your knowledge, but it's the group as a whole that is going through this.
But you've got advantage on it already?
Yeah, just roll high.
Yeah. It's just that this feat does a lot of things. It's quite confusingly put together.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of goes against 5e design philosophy, to be honest, but
A little bit.
a little bit. So yeah, okay. So just a survival check at advantage, correct?
Yes.
See?
Wow.
Wait, that was just yeah. Okay, fine.
That'll do.
Okay.
That'll do.
That'll do.
Yeah,
All right,
just
so
scroll
that's
back
going to
down.
drop the score to 10. So you're back to 10 now.
Great.
Now that will continue to go up over time,
Hurrah.
but that drops you down, and it means that you are out, and it takes just around a day, maybe a little less than that, maybe 5-6 hours or so, for you to arrive at the farmhouse. Now I'll describe the farmhouse in a minute, but it means that total one of those days has passed. So we went back up from 10 to 11, but it would have been going up to 12, so this was valuable. But I'm going to need people to make one more check as you come to the farmhouse. So could I have whichever one of you would like to roll this time?
River?
Or
Yeah.
keep going in circles.
I hope not.
No, I mean, no, of course not. That
Whoops,
would,
we're back at the Iron Hills.
yeah, here we
Damn
go.
it! That was all a dream. It's like you were just imagining it. You're like, oh.
Yeah, the fact that the dragon awareness score is now 30. But yeah,
The dragon's been staring at you while you're sleeping. Like,
Like, do you
they
know
look
that
so
when you're
cute at
like
that age.
half awake in the morning and you like have a dream about like getting all your chores done, and then you
Yes.
wake up properly and realize, oh,
Yes,
Fuck.
exactly.
I don't know if that's ever happened to me. I don't know if I've ever dreamt about having finished chores, but
I have that too often.
My dreams are both that and also when I haven't finished everything, or like when I haven't finished a paper for high school, then I wake up, I'm like, I'm a professor in college.
yeah.
what? No!
Oh no.
Are you joking?
Well, so unfortunately, even with the +6. So now there is one bit of good news actually as I was looking this over, because it was, I'll explain the way that it does this is
How
it's
many bits of good news?
only one bit of good news.
One?
It's
okay.
a modified. So the deal is that this hunt is a modified version of the shadow hunt, which is done in Rivendell. So the way they describe it was unclear to me. So actually, you've only had one actual hunt episode. So those things I talked about at the beginning, where you had the Crebain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You only have had the shadow one. Now, unfortunately, it was the shadow one, but you've only had that, the rumbling in the earth thing. So the Crebain one has not shown up yet. So I'm just letting you know that. Like, you had one fewer hunt episode than I thought. So that's the good news. The bad news is you did fail this one.
Wait, I'm confused about what you just said. So wait, had the Crabane episode.
Did not have the Crabane episode. No, the first one was supposed to be the Shadow one. So
I
the
see,
Shadow
okay.
one first, then the Crabane. So the Crabane hasn't happened yet. So I apologize for the misunderstanding. The Crabane thing did not occur because I assumed it was every day there was an episode, and it's every day you fail this check that you get an episode. So my apologies.
So, but since we have only failed it once, haven't we?
Yes.
So we've.
I think
So
this is now 2, isn't it?
No, this is our first failure.
It was your first failure. You had one hunt
Yeah.
event, and that was the Shadow one.
That was the That's what you're trying to say. Okay.
That's what
so
I'm
we
saying.
have-
Yes, the Shadow one
Okay.
was the first one.
That's fine. That's totally fine.
So,
Hooray!
My bad. Sorry about that.
It's fine. Okay.
Okay. Now let's
I
talk
was just
about
confused
the farmhouse.
Because the Crabane episode seemed like it was part of the journey, and that was why I was like, anyway, never mind. Okay.
Yeah, no, it was the rumbles come first, and then the Crabane. So when you see some Crabane, you'll know what that's all about. The next time. Okay. You are brought to this place. Now the farmhouse that is here that you can see. Actually, this farmhouse looks to be quite pleasant, and in fact, I think I have a picture of it, which I will show you, lovely folks, in just a minute. And it really does call itself the Last Homely House, which is okay. Let's see if I've got the. If this will work here. It does. I love it. Save.
Donnie gets there and realizes everybody else is still back at Haven, and he's like, wait a minute.
I told everyone to follow me. Okay. So here we go. Here is what the farmhouse looks like. I'll bring this up on stream. Okay. So the farmhouse looks like that. You can just see it. You can just see it nestled into the hills. Yeah, sorry, I can't. I guess I could try to do it on Roll20, but that would get confusing. I don't know how to let you see it, Inga.
I'm looking at it. Oh, you're right. You can't look at the Twitch stream. Never mind.
Oh, actually, wait a minute. I think I could do. You know what I can do for a second? I'm only gonna do this for a second because it can mess up the windows. But I will.
Wait, I can share my screen. No, I can do
you
it.
can share it?
Actually. Yeah. Why don't I do that and you can see it?
Okay, sounds
So-
good. It'll just be for a moment.
Yeah. Oh, you have to let me share though.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, this is the second biggest art reveal of the stream. You're right. You're right. Right. Okay. Why am I not? Give me the thing. There we go. Multiple advanced sharing options.
Way off in the distance is a
There we
little
go.
bitty house.
There we go.
In the extreme
Got it.
foreground is a big stone golem that's pointing up in the air.
There you go. Can you see it?
Ah,
Here's a
this
little
is the
house.
hut.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
So cute.
Wonderful.
So just sort of nestled into the hills there. So as you are making your way downtown, moving fast,
Walking
fast,
fast.
and sound. Da, 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 da. Da, 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 da. It's a dragon. Okay.
And your mouth.
So, all right. So you sort of come across it, and immediately upon your seeing it, you feel somewhat, well, pleased and sort of almost calm at the look of it. There's a few sheep that are calmly grazing outside as you approach. And as you get close, you can see someone comes out of the farmhouse, and you can see that they're holding a very sturdy staff, not unlike yours, Tani, actually. And it is a dwarf. And as you get closer...
Staff is a dwarf?
And the staff is a dwarf. He's holding a dwarf as a staff. No, he is a dwarf, and he's holding the staff. And as you get closer, you can see his face. I'm going to have to, again, have you share a screen in just a minute. Just a
I thought
second
Gainar
here.
was a lady.
No,
I
no.
think it's because it
Gainar is
sounds
not a
like
lady. Gainar is a
Guinan.
male dwarf.
Oh,
And-
I-
I was totally imagining Guinan from Star Trek, but
Oh,
as a-
yeah. You see Whoopi Goldberg, and...
yeah.
Okay. So here you go. You come close, and here's the man that you see. And remember that you were traveling partly, during the nighttime, so you're coming when it's still evening, and light spills out from behind him, and you can see he's got this hat. He's probably like I wouldn't say super old as a dwarf is concerned. Maybe he's like 90, something like that. And he comes and he sees you. He says, I'll ask your friends to come no further until you've explained yourselves. Who? And then he kind of peers into the darkness and says, oh, bless me, but perhaps my eyes are going out. Is that... Oh, that must be Thane Inga, if I'm not mistaken. And, oh, that would make you Thane Tani. And that would be... Well, you must be Bolo Brus Took, yes, and you must be the river. Oh, you're the heroes of Dale. Oh, no. And he sort of says listen, everyone. And he's yelling back into the house. The heroes of Dale have come to visit us.
River goes,
I'm sorry, mistress. My apologies. I'm Gainar. Welcome. What brings you to my home?
Would you be by chance going on a dragon hop? No.
I love dragons. That goes across the valley.
River, I don't know how far apart they are at this point.
It's still some distance. I mean, like, at the bottom of this little hill that leads up to him. So, I don't know, maybe 100 feet. You're kind of peering up at him in the darkness.
And, I mean, I think that River would say, may we've come seeking your home. May we come in and speak more together indoors?
Oh, of course, you'd be more than welcome. In fact, we've got a few visitors here, but please come up. I'm going to ask you to make a traditions check for me, please, River, since you were the first one to address him. This isn't a difficult one.
That's all good.
Roll high.
Inshallah. Traditions.
You keep saying it.
What did I can't actually see what I rolled.
12.
Okay. That's enough. Yeah, it was not a difficult one. It was still a little bit close to the vest, but no. And he says, very well. Yes, please, come in. It's quite late, but I'm afraid, well, the children and no one's gotten any sleep. It's been a busy few days for us. And he turns and opens the door. You can feel, you can sort of see the light, feel the sort of warmth flowing out from within. And you can hear also some...
Why don't you share your screen with Tari so she can see what this guy looks like?
Right. Yeah, why don't you share the screen so you can, if you wouldn't mind, Amel, to show him to Inga.
Oh, wait, that's not right. Sorry, I shared the wrong thing. Where is the...
My God, your password is stupid.
Stupid 1 2 3 4.
Right.
There we go.
Aha.
Pretty nice.
Good.
Mm-hmm.
Like a sensible head.
Yeah. Sensible hat stuff. And you can tell that his hands are worn, his face is a little lined, despite the fact that he's clearly not that old for a dwarf, but obviously he's been at this for a while. You can tell his skin is a little sort of browned from, long exposure in the sun and so forth, but seems to be a relatively, steady fellow, and he brings you inside his room. Now, there's a couple things you note. First of all, you can see that there's basically that you don't see any dwarf children here, but you do see a dwarf woman who is sitting and talking with, or really more listening to, another dwarf woman who's speaking quite rapidly, actually, and she says, the truth is, this whole journey is going to be a difficult one. I mean, I understand why it's going to be difficult, but it's important that we understand what's at stake here. We can't talk about it, but, you don't send this many heroes if you don't mean something positive from it, and it's going to make a great tale, it will. And sitting in the background, so you see this dwarf talking to the other dwarf woman, and in the corner, you can see a tall human seated, running her fingers over the runes on the haft of her long spear. And you can see next to her there are several empty mugs, and she's got a third mug in her hand that she is drinking from, and looks to be very much like these people, Greystroke and Scaphira from descriptions anyway. And they're sitting in the corner as they arrive. And so when they come in, Scaphira, assuming that's the one it is, turns to you and says, we had thought there might be more adventurers coming our way, and fortunately we've got a place that will shield us, thanks to our good host here. Welcome. Look, Look, Greystroke, they've arrived. We knew they'd be coming after us. And Greystroke sort of just looks at you with eyes lowered and does not look overly happy to see you. And
River
just sort of stares.
River looks suddenly actively delighted, and she actually will like bow low from the waist to both of them and just say, "I presume you must be Scriphira Silvertongue, and I can't remember. Does Greystroke have a title?
Yeah, just Greystroke.
Just great. You must be Scriphira Silvertongue, and you must be Greystroke. We have heard such great tales of both of your doings." And I mean, like, River is like, or I mean, bard to bard, sort of like. I am totally assuming that she has actually heard some of Scriphira's like songs actually. Yes. And stuff, and so she will totally genuinely and sincerely look to Scriphira and say, your Song of the Bells just absolutely moved me very, very deeply when I heard it. I still sometimes when I am falling asleep, it plays in my head, and it just, I'm absolutely certain, coats my dreams in silver. Thank you so much for putting that out into the world.
And she smiles broadly and she says, "Oh, you've heard that, have you? Well, you see, Greystroke, you see, that they're adventurers with taste and honor they are. You could tell that already. I've made all kinds of adjustments in that tale now. There's actually an extra verse, but I haven't released it yet." And then she catches sight of, because you have strung on your back, I assume, the harp, right? And so she catches sight, and she stands up and she sort of like completely, the other dwarf woman is just sort of there staring. The other dwarf woman you would guess is probably Gerard's wife, because she looks kind of very overwhelmed by everything here, like just sort of all these musicians and heroes and adventurers in her home. And Scriphira walks over to your harp and says, "What a gorgeous thing. My goodness. Do you mind if I...
River like unslings it from her back in this very practiced movement and says, "Oh yes, this is I can't remember if this particular harp has a name. It definitely would with River, but
I thought you didn't. I think your harp pin,
my harp pin has a name.
Was Calar, right? Calar?
Yeah. So I will put a pin, as it were, in introducing this harp, because I can't be bothered to come up with a name right now. But anyway, we'll say, "Oh yes, this is here, but by all means, please." But as that's happening, she'll also take a beat to say, "My apologies, I've been overcome by my own enthusiasm. Please allow us to introduce ourselves." And she'll go through the introductions. She'll actually. And she introduces all of the other, like everybody else with their titles and stuff. And then when she gets to herself, she actually pauses and stumbles for a second because of knowing that she has a title, but feeling very weird about saying it. And so just ends up saying, I'm the River. I'm the River. And
Inge would like chime in at that point.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, this would be
Say,
Thane Inge. This would be Thane River Music Wielder, actually.
River will flush.
Scriphira is extremely impressed, by the way. "Oh, Music Wielder, what an incredible title! That's extraordinary. Greystroke, did you hear?" Now, Greystroke is just continually stared, hasn't said anything. Gerard is kind of like, "Well, I didn't know that we had yet another one. We have so many Thanes. I don't know that my home's big enough to hold all of the heroes here."
River is very, very flushed all of a sudden. And
why am I reminded of turning red right now?
Yeah. Turns into a panda. Like that.
River turns into a giant panda.
Yeah, I'm reminded of South Park with, "Oh my god, oh 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 my god."
Pretty much. And she's just so you bring out the harp, and then what were you doing with it, River? You were just...
Oh, she was just like letting Scriphira play with it. A thing, everyone does this around harps in a way that they don't do this with like any other instrument, as far as I'm aware. Everyone, when they see a harp, is like, "Oh, a harp, can I touch it?" And then they want to like touch and play the harp. So River is used to this And we'll be like, yeah, here, and if the harp is not Scrifira's instrument, we'll show her just like the most basic. So you put your hands like this in order to pluck a string,
and so Scrifara looks at it and kind of like and listens very carefully, and then she takes it and then she sort of carefully. And she sort of looks at you, falling silent for the first time since you've entered, and sort of nods as if to say, like, can she?
I build these,
play something.
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, if it's I can't imagine anyone in the company could object. We have been keeping a very low profile as much as we can. I don't know how much the sounds of merriment ringing out might be against our purpose here. I presume we are united in the same purpose.
And she says, I haven't told anyone about it so far because, well, supposedly I wasn't supposed to. And make an insight check for me, please, actually, River.
Sure.
I'll say, actually, all of you can make this insight check because you're all watching as you're speaking.
It's an 18.
Okay. Bolo, you're just like, wow. Look at all this.
Can
cool
I touch the harp too?
Wow. And Tani's just like wireframe. I see all, as does Inga. I see all. When she says I wasn't supposed to, you can clearly see that her eyes flicker back to Greystroke, who is just balefully kind of still glaring from their perch back there in the corner. And Scrifira says, well, it might not be merriment, I suppose. And she runs her hands along the strings and she sings, heroes fair of the time I know, heroes fair of the time I go. All my time I would find my way, all that time, all night and day. We must away ere morning comes, all our time for all for one. All that time I would travel this road and lighten my load at that end of the day. And she sort of fades away. The harp plays spectacularly. And River, you realize that you're like, as you were doing, like she's very kindly listening to you, and then she plays where you're like, God damn, look at the chord changes, like just, just like unreal. And the whole sort of hut falls silent. And Gerard sort of says, well, we haven't heard something that beautiful in many a year, have we, Kona? And his wife, presumably Kona, nods and smiles, and she says, indeed we have not. I'm sort of speechless. And Scrifira smiles, and she looks over at Greystroke, and Greystroke stands rather unsteadily and says, all I know is that we've got work to do while you've all wasted time. It seems that Dane is not a gambler like his cousin must have been. He doesn't wager the safety of his kingdom on one band of ragtag adventurers. He sends a whole army of vagabonds in the hope that one will survive. Maybe all of us, one of us will get through. Well, and she taps her chest lightly with the head of the spear. The dragon is mine. My foe. My kill. Mine. And she takes the spear and stumbles off to the other room, and you hear her fall on top of this bed. And there's a very uncomfortable silence, and then Scrifira is like, so she's got the adventure thing. Anyway, it was really good to, and immediately like starts trying to change the subject. So
wait, you guys think you can actually kill a dragon?
And she says that, and now when you hear when Greystroke's words are heard, and then when you sort of said this thing about killing the dragon, Gerard's eyes get not Gerard, Guynar. Gynar's eyes get very wide. He's like, kill a dragon, you don't say? Why, that's How? I don't even know how that can be done. Do you, my love? And he looks at
You're
Kona.
right. We didn't say.
He looks at Kona, and Kona's like sort of just sort of shakes her head wide-eyed, and he says, "Dragon slayers, you would be. Well, that's the biggest news to come our way in many a year."
River
And
immediately
I hope
says,
these news stay here.
"Yeah." River immediately says, and like she kind of does this like gesture of like, she says, "That of which we speak has ways of hearing and seeing that we don't necessarily know. Our way here was as quiet and stealthy as we could manage it, and still we had some sense that our approach is anticipated. We are not the only group in pursuit of this goal, but I would caution us all to, as we speak of it, speak slant and speak quiet, because we don't want this news to spread faster than we can travel."
And Skirfara, it just not, kind of nods, and says, "Yes, Skirfira, sorry." Says, "Yes, of course, naturally. I hoped to speak in more general terms," and kind of looks uncomfortably back at the room where Greystroke is now snoring lightly. And Gynar says, "Well, as for me, you can be sure that my lips are sealed. I mean, I would never want to reveal anything that could put anyone in danger. That's big news, of course, but, well, you can be sure that I'll be as silent as the grave, even more silent. There's nothing more quiet than a farm at times, they say. And there's nothing better suited to get rid of a chill or to get rid of something as some food. It's late, but perhaps I could interest you in some food if we have any, Kona." And he looks back, and Kona's, and she kind of realizes, like, just for a moment was just kind of like
I'm being
frozen.
a terrible host.
And he like gets up and is like, and goes over and does actually look flushed and embarrassed, and goes over. And Bolo, as she goes over, you can see that like there's a wonderful smell, and you can tell it is the smell of a room that has been cooked well in on multiple occasions. Do you know what I mean? Like you can have a smell that's a bad scent that overall sort of sinks in, like, people who smoke cigars and like cigar smoke just never comes out of anything. But there's the opposite of that, where when you go into a bakery or something where there's just wonderful smells, sometimes it just like gets infused and it just always smells good. You feel like this is that way. The inside of this hut smells really, really good. And as she bustles over, you can see that she has several pots going, and of bubbling stuff of some kind. In fact, one of them is boiled over a little bit as she was sitting there kind of overwhelmed with everything. And she comes over and like, and takes it off the fire and and so on. It brings out a couple of plates and dishes out some stew, some wonderful stew.
As she's doing that, Bolo's going to go over and offer to help and inquire about what she's made and what the ingredients were and that sort of thing.
"Oh, well, Master, this is actually, much of it's taken from our own farm. We like to, as they say, we like to buy local." And she laughs and she says, "So," and she like dishes out onto a plate some of it, and she says, "These potatoes, well, they're just fresh harvested, and we actually have several barrels of them that we keep in cold storage. And then we're able to do that." And she like basically talks shop with you, and clearly knows. And at one point she says, "Sir, I can't help but notice, but is that pan of yours? What? It looks to be a wonderful implement." "Hi, Shadow Mage."
Yeah, Bola will take out Flankseer and say, "Oh, this is my pride and joy, Flankseer," and give her kind of its history, where it brought it all the way from the Shire, and
I've heard such good things about the Shire's food. And like it's very much like the equivalent of Skirfira, like doing the thing with a harp. Like she's like, brushing the side of the flank searer and all. And she's like, "It looks well seasoned. Do you have to re-oil it ever so often?" And he like asks you that, and
and I do similar things with the pot that I see, the big stock pot and stuff.
Which, by the way, that stock pot looks like it's been through some stuff, but not in a dirty way. It just looks like it's very clean, but looks like well serviced, and like that kind of thing where like forging a weapon, when you have forged a pot and you made a pot and it's a good one, like, you just know it's good. Like it's just
well used and
yeah.
well loved.
Yeah. And the smells are delectable. If you had this to work with a battered mug to begin with, Bolo, like you'd be Michelin 5-star, rating at this point, right?
Yeah.
And so she says, sir, I don't mean to impose, but well, I wonder if there's any recipes, from maybe the Shire or from your time in Dale. We don't get down to the city very much, you see, and I would love to be able to broaden my recipe choices. I'm afraid for an adventurer like yourself, this is going to seem quite boring. Now, this stew smells amazing, but it's very simple, but it smells amazing. She's like, I don't know if you know any new things you could perhaps convey.
Well, I can't remember if I squirreled away any of the honey from Tawny Bear's
I think you did.
estate. Yeah, so I'll mention honey cakes, that I've made, and I'll take out the honey that came from Tawny's. Is it like an estate home? Yeah.
His home.
The Tawny Bear
His manor estate.
I don't know what to call it.
It makes this hovel look like a hovel.
It's called Bjorning Gardens. Is what it's called.
Yeah, I'll give her the history of the honey, and as I'm talking about the recipe and such, and
she looks at you, Tawny, as Bono's doing that, and all of a sudden, as if for the first time, she kind of notes how big you are. Now you have to stoop a little, Tawny, because this is not a huge place. Not a lot. I mean, it's not like tiny, but you do have to stoop a bit. And she says, "Oh, I didn't know. Of course, we've heard of you, Thane Tawny Bear. What an honor!" And she kind of curtsies again, and she says, "The healing work that you've done is legendary. I can't believe you're in our own home. Is this honey from your place, as he says?"
Indeed it is.
Oh, and she's just sort of like, "I can't even believe it. Oh, well," and she just suddenly, like, remembering something, she kind of, like, hands over the pot, Bolo. You have to, like, quickly grab it by the handle, because she almost, like, sort of pushes at it because she's not thinking. And then she goes over, and there is sort of a sub-room, which looks basically like some kind of a larder. And she goes in and goes to the top shelf, and then she pulls out this dark amber comb that she brings out, honeycomb, Tawny, and she brings it over to you, and almost shyly she says, "I know that this probably won't measure up to what you're used to, but I thought maybe, well, they say that there's healing properties in this, and I wondered if you could tell me if that's so. I also, well, when the sheep gets lame, or when one of the cows is having trouble with indigestion, you might say, I sometimes am the one to heal them, and well." And Guynar says, "She's wonderful at all of it. Don't let her tell you any different." She says, "Well, be quiet, Guynar." And she kind of like waves him down. And she says, "But I wonder, with what you've said," and she points to you, Bolo, and what you've said, Thane, and she points to you, Tawny, "would you know anything that could help make this more efficacious, effective, with animals and the like?" And she kind of hands the honey over to you, Tawny. It depends on I can tell you more about it if you want to know, but I mean, it's up to what you want to know or not.
Yeah, basically, he just kind of opens the tape and it's like, no, he doesn't do that.
What garbage is this, you peasant? No.
Well, I mean, they are literal peasants, right?
Yeah, but
normally it takes 100 years for honey to go bad. What the hell did you do to this?
It's like old honey from the west that like the Noldor brought with them.
Yeah. Exactly. Did you get this from bees, or does the goddamn elves get this? So anyway.
I think this may actually be dwarven earwax that you just licked. Sorry, Amal. I know you're eating. I shouldn't have said that.
Gain 20 to the hunt score. God damn it.
And she's gone. Bye.
Yeah. She just needed to retch for a minute. No, he basically asks if she's got a couple of different sprigs of mint or whatnot.
Oh, yes, of course. And she like kind of bustles over and gets, and you can see that she has, in one part of her larder, she has a number of things hanging that look like dried herbs of some kind. And she pulls some out, and she says, Oh, it's been a while since we've been able to grow mint, I'm sorry to say. So this is from a few seasons ago, but it should still be good, I think. I hope it's fresh enough.
Should be. And so he shows her how to, like, he takes his mortar and pestle in case she doesn't have one.
She does, but,
Yeah. So, and so he, basically uses the honey to muddle the mint together and make a poultice out of that.
And does so, and makes that, and she's like, oh, well, I can almost tell it looks, and she's just, thank you, and then she realizes, Bolo, that you're holding the thing, and she's like, oh, I'm sorry, and she like hands the honeycomb over to you, Tani, so now you're like holding this honeycomb, and then she rushes over to you, Bolo, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry, and she takes the pot, and she puts it down on a basically like the equivalent of like a hot plate on the table.
Trivet
and
the
then,
size of a manhole cover.
Yeah, exactly. And then ladles out more of the stew. Now, again, I want to reiterate, chat, some of you may have had good stew, and some of you may have had sort of the fake stuff, like the Dinty Moore, highly processed. I'm here to tell you that if you have had good stew, and I mean stew that has been slow cooked, like crock pot style, infused where the flavors mix with each other and the meat just melts in the mouth, and the carrots and the potatoes and when you've had that, this stew, very little else will seem as nourishing as this stew. And so she dishes this out to these various plates. And then she says to you, Bolo, she says, I don't know whether you'd season any of this differently, but well, this is my own recipe with a little bit of rosemary, and there's some thyme there, and she mentions a couple of other things.
Also some sage.
Bolo's like, oh, what else did? And then what?
Spectacular, by the way. The stew is so good. Also, there's a lot of it. Like, it's the other thing. It's the classic. It's good, and it's also like, well, you've had a taste of it. That'll be $500. No. There's like, I mean, this thing is like a vat practically of stew.
Good.
So, and she hands it out to everybody. As she's doing this, Guynar comes over to Inga, and says, Thane Inga, I wonder if I could talk to you for just a moment, if you wouldn't mind, not in private per se, but away from the others, if that's all right.
Why, of course.
And he kind of brings you over just to one corner, and he lowers his voice, and he says, Thane Inga, I wanted to let you know, the two adventurers that came ahead of you, Greystroke and Scarfera there, they seem, at least Scarfera seems to be good folk. Greystroke is dour and silent. That thing they just said is as much as she said since she's been here. Scarfera was super friendly, but Greystroke, well, she just seemed very quiet and focused. And, well, my concern is, so far, I've seen you and the others, and these two, but are there more? You don't have to tell me the details, but if there's more groups, well, should we be readying for others to arrive? And, the dragon, is the dragon coming to us? Will the dragon return? And you can see his eyes have a little bit of fear in them, Inga, and he says, I was there when the dragon first came. I managed to escape because I wasn't home at the time. I left Erebor behind and became a farmer and married my beloved Kona. But the flame, the fire, it still haunts my vision sometimes. I just didn't know if... And he sort of, looks abashed, and then, will you be able to stop it?
Inga leans forward a bit and puts one hand on his shoulder, looks him deep in the eyes, and goes, there will be no dragons coming here for so long as I've got anything to say about it.
And he nods. He says, I appreciate that. That Greystroke is a grim warrior, but she seems focused on her task. And as for Scarfera, and Scarfera at this point has gone over and is still happily chatting with the river about all things music. She seems nice as well, but I just wasn't sure. A dragon, it's so much.
Two out of character questions
Sure.
about Greystroke. First of all, did her spear look like anything special?
Yes. There are definitely runes on that spear that she was brushing her fingers over. It looks worn, well worn, but it did look absolutely like there was something runic that had been inscribed in it.
Okay.
So yes, for sure.
And second, what accent was she speaking? Was she speaking Dalish or Westron, basically?
Greystroke was speaking actually. It's not Dalish. It's not exactly Western either. You think, though, Inga, because of your travels, you might have heard language like this before, but from very distant lands. It could be that this is someone far from the south or from the north, because even the sort of the pattern of speaking, like wasn't quite normal, or the way you would normally hear it. Like the intonation is different and everything. And one other note I want to make, Inga, I'm actually going to give you a perception check to see if you noticed something about these runes. You saw them, and yes, we were only 3 points away, 3 subs away on YouTube chat from a giveaway, and also giving the party a bit of information. So let's get there. We got 25 minutes to do it. So let's do it. Let's make it happen. Yeah, the cadence, Big Boss, is a good way to put it. Yeah, I think that's enough. Inga, the runes were not dwarvish.
Oh, interesting. But they are definitely runes, right?
Definitely, no question.
Okay. We were told that. We were told that.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
We were told that?
Yeah, you were given that information because it was one of the bits of information that you gained from your encounter with King Dane, who gave you more stuff.
Might be exactly what we learned about her.
She was, well, so far she has fit the description that she is known to be tall and grim, bitter and fell-handed, and that she carries an elven great spear, which she called Nameless. And she calls it that because she can't read these elf letters, apparently, and she has never let anyone touch it. This thing goes everywhere with her. Literally never lets it out of her sight, and even when she sleeps, it's right there underneath her. She is just wildly efficient, supposedly, and skilled, but very, very dour. And you could sort of tell that yourself. In fact, you probably only got anything out of her because she's also drunk, apparently. But Skerfira is her boon companion, and no one really knows how they connected to each other. But Skerfira is as bright and bubbly as Greystroke is sort of downtrodden and dour and quiet. So.
Sorry, I missed this. How are we seeing, or how is Inga seeing these runes?
Because she's brushing, when she was sitting in the corner, she was brushing her fingers over the runes of on the handle.
Okay, but since she doesn't speak Dalish, because my first thought was, oh shit, maybe she has a personal vendetta against dragons because she might be from Lake Town.
Unclear. It does not sound like a Lake Town accent though. No. But of course, dragons have roamed far and wide across Middle Earth, so the depredations could be elsewhere.
Yeah, but she would also need to come here. It would be much more likely.
I got you.
If somebody in this, some human in this area would have some personal beef against dragons, then they're probably from Lake Town.
Right, could be. Yeah, it's unclear. Unclear.
Right.
By the way, River, as Inga's thinking, Skerfira at this point has just has actually showed you a couple of alternate fingerings, how to strum these other things, and is and is just chattering on about how great the harp is and how awesome the music is, and the axe combat, have you ever fought while singing, and all these things. She's very much actually it's like watching a babbling brook, which seems to have a conversation with itself. It's not annoying the way that Dindy, yes. It's not annoying the way that Dindy is. It's just but it's very much just like the gift of gab. One thing leads to another, and she is as sunny and bright as Greystroke is very much not that way. Sorry, Inga, go ahead.
I think just one thing, as River and Skerfira are talking and stuff like that, if like River is just sincerely interested in everything and very much enjoying this conversation, but if there is an opening that suggests like asking something about the two of their history or their or just like just saying like your companion seems very intent on your purpose.
Okay. I
And
will
just
come.
like
Yep.
offer openings essentially, and not press, but just like offer openings
Okay.
to explain things. Yeah.
I will come back to that. I'll come back to that. Remind me. While Bolo is chatting, with Kona, well, chatting in between, shoveling in mouthfuls of stew. And then Inga, you said you were thinking about other things.
Yeah, so like the last thing he said was like that he asked whether or not other people were coming, right?
Right, exactly. Whether there were others that would come.
Yeah, to that Inga would reply, it is possible. I don't know any specifics about that. Not that I've seen anybody else.
And he nods and he says, we'll try to be as hospitable as we can. If it's truly a dragon that all you're after, then it's going to need more than just one to be able to help. But, well, these groups, I suppose, so far, these ones have been overwhelming, but you've all been good, friendly folk. I wonder if there's others who we should be more concerned about. People who would hunt dragons, sometimes they're just as dark and stormy as Greystroke there, and sometimes they're crueler too.
Well, I mean, so long as she uses her cruelty on whatever she may find causing that smoke above the mountains, but
He nods.
And just so Ingen, like I don't know if Inga's actually withholding this information or not, but we do know of like 2 other groups, right?
yeah, but like Inga doesn't know whether or not they would be coming this way. So
Gotcha.
she's
Right.
like,
Fair enough.
not lying,
Yeah. Just wanted to
Also,
make sure we're, like
because like this is like the less he knows, probably the better.
yeah. Yeah.
She's trying
So,
to be
like, I just
diplomatic
wanted
about
it.
this.
I just wanted to be clear that you were deliberately omitting
Yeah.
as opposed to
and let me just pause this to say we have reached the 840 sub goal. So far, yay. So what that means is it triggers 2 things. 1, I'm going to do a giveaway, and 2, I'm going to give the party a bit of information, and I will do it in narrative because that's how we roll here, in chat. So first of all, I'm going to do a giveaway. Now, this is thanks to our own lovely Dragon Spear who has provided this. I have a giveaway code for the game Oblivion, which is, of course, an Elder Scrolls game, and it is the GOG version of this, the full game of Oblivion. So I am going to start this giveaway, if I can remember how to do it. So this is a giveaway admin. Oh, God. Here we go. Here's Arv trying to remember how his own bot works.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Let's exactly 3. So 3. And let's see. Let's say, I know what to do. Nope, that's clearly wrong. Giveaway.
So sorry, is this giveaway happening on like for the stream? Like, if we signal people on Twitter to come now for giveaway?
The giveaway could happen on absolutely. It's going to happen on stream. So yeah, you could summon people to do that right now. Except I need to find what the heck the freaking code is.
That gives you more time because they need to get here quick, I think.
Shoot. Is it giveaway -start? Start. Is that it? Okay, good. Okay, don't type that in. Away -stop. Okay, good. Wonderful. Sorry, Mrs. Dunsel. That doesn't count. I was making sure I got it. Okay. Giveaway. Here we go. So. Whoop, nope, that's not it. Giveaway start dragon. Okay. Giveaway -start dragon. Damn it. This is. See, one of the things you learn when you're a pro streamer is how to. What? How is that even? Giveaway dash. That should
Maybe
be right.
it's exclamation point dragon way, give it start dash.
I don't understand.
Me neither. That's why,
And the game is Oblivion?
The game is Oblivion. Yes.
Elder
Scrolls.
Oh, fun
4.
fact about Oblivion. When the game came out, the German translation of it was so abysmal that like all the magazines at the time reviewing the games were like giving out separate scores for the English version and the German version, because the German version was basically unplayable because of all the the healing spell was translated as fireball basically and stuff like that. So it was, and like everything had like these very nonsensical abbreviations that like nobody could make out, and it's nothing made sense.
Tenured streamer. Yes, I'm reaching out to Shadow Mage because for some reason I'm not remembering how this works. It's been a while since I've done a giveaway like this, so I mean I could use alternates, but and then I will give the party their piece of information. Fear not. But I will give this away one way or the other. That's it. Thank you, Triffid, hero of the stream. MVM, most valuable mod today. Thank you, Triffid, so much. Giveaway admin -S dragon space -A. I can't remember why I didn't. It just rolls off the tongue.
Right.
Okay. So yes. So type dragon. I see
Triffid.
it. I saw it. Thank you so much, Triffid. Okay. Okay. Never mind. Triffid figured
Same
it
Triffid giveaway
out. Thanks. Anyway. Okay. Cool. So if you want to get a copy of Oblivion, type in the word dragon. I don't know if it's case sensitive. Okay, not case sensitive, just to contain the keyword. That's right. So type in dragon if you would like to win a copy of this. Now, while this is going, I'm going to run this so that as people come in, they could be like, oh, I also would like to get this code. So as people come in and they're like, how do I do the giveaway? Tell them to type in the word dragon. Appropriate.
Remember
since it
that
was dragon.
Sir Patrick Stewart is in the beginning of Oblivion.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's true. And somebody brought up Lands of Lore earlier today. And of course, Patrick Stewart is also in that. That's right. Okay. So
like the cover was like of your book was like tweeted on to vote on Twitter.
yes.
And I'm like noticing, why is there the cathedral in Cologne in the background?
it looks like it.
Exactly
It looks like
it,
it, but it's not though. The guy made it fresh, but yes, it does look like it. We gave him actually some reference thoughts about that, or the Cathedral of Chartres was another one that we sort of, so it's got that kind of look, but yeah.
And Corel is far older than Germany, so
Yeah, sure.
Well, I mean, Germany is like 100 years old, so.
See?
That's all it is.
No, like literally, like the country of Germany is like really, really
true.
young.
Quite true.
Younger than the US.
That's quite true, actually. That's true. It's all of the sort of states, the city, the principalities, right?
Also, for some time, Cologne was part of France, so let's not forget.
Right. That's right. Okay. So, right. Okay. So anyway, so that's awesome. We'll get people in now. I will note, by the way, I'm going to give the party a piece of information as promised. Now, every 10 subs, and we got 15 minutes, every 10 subs that we get from now on, I will give the party another piece of information, and I will give away another game. So you have 15, maybe 20 minutes, to do this. So now, the information that I will give you is, River, as you are talking with Skurfira and you're sort of chatting back and forth, you asked about, at one point, about their history, right? And about what they, that sort of thing. And so at one point, Skurfira says, well, what do you people, what is it? It's not pronounced Chartres. It's not pronounced that way, though.
Focus.
Okay. So.
No, sorry, I was just still looking at comparing a photo of the Kölner Dome with the.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Art.
So.
Distracting. Sorry.
That's okay. So, as the person is talking to, as Skurfira is talking to you, River, and you ask that question, Skurfira sort of drops her voice at one point, and she says, "Well, that's a long tale, you see, but, well, I can say that." Well, there's a reason that we're on this journey, and, well, dragons might be a part of it. You see, Greystroke and I were brought together through a dragon. Well, actually, because of a dragon, you might say. It's not totally my tale to tell, and it's never a good idea to sing someone else's song without permission. But I'll say that, well, my verse came into her story when she saved me from the dragon's depredations. And I will say that you might say, saved her. She said that I gave her a reason to keep going. And she kind of drops her voice and says, there was a dragon long ago. Not a particularly old one, just a drake. Cold drake that slithered and writhed, it did. It made its way over who knows how many hills and under how many caves and up through ruined buildings and towns. And it crawled and slithered its way until it found its way to the village of a warrior. Well, they had stood up for a long time out there, deep in the northern wastes. There they were, standing every day against gathering shadow, against despair. Their will was their strength, you see. And when the dragon wound its way through, it all came to an end. The whole village died that day. All of them, eaten, killed, smashed beneath its claws. The only one who stood tall against them was one who had a special spear, the most valuable thing in the village. That was Greystroke. She never spoke about what happened, but when she came out of that place, when she found me, she was as you see her now, except even quieter. Dark as a moonlit night she was, not a star in her sky. But when a dragon was ravaging my village, probably the same one, it was Greystroke that pulled me free from the rubble. It was Greystroke that held the dragon off till we could escape. My brother died there, but my ma and dad, they escaped, and most of the village too. And it wouldn't have happened without Greystroke. I swore a boon to her then. I said that I would travel with her, tell her story, that if she wouldn't talk to me, well, I'd talk for her. And she just nodded once. And for Greystroke, well, that's like speaking a whole toast at a wedding. And I've been with her ever since. She said once that I kept her sky light. And that was like speaking 3 toasts at a wedding. She's a good person, you understand. She said that the dragon, that there's ways to deal with them if you can look real close. Well, and she kind of brushes away probably just a, slight itch of the skin that she has to scratch at, and then says, well, there's me going on. I'm sure you didn't want to hear all of that. But
River's eyes are also brimming.
That's me and Greystroke for you. And she nods.
River will reach out her hand to just kind of put it on top of... at some point, as she was speaking, she'll have reached out her hand to put it on top of Scrifera's hand and just kind of kept listening and had eyes welling up somewhat, but listening very closely and remembering the just how wearing and burdening shadow is, and how difficult the wastes are just to navigate, and thinking of that over years and a lifetime, and just has a moment of being very grateful for her own companions as she listens.
And she nods and she smiles, and the night actually passes that way, with Gainar spreading tales of what he's heard from dwarven adventurers with Inga. I'm going to come back to that in a minute. With Bolo and Kona exchanging many cooking recipes and tales and ideas about things. And at one point, Tani, in the middle of this conversation, you feel something just kind of gently tug at your pant leg. And so if you look down, you see a
Kobold! No,
yes,
sorry.
you see a kobold who you instantly kill, except it's actually a dwarf child. You're a terrible person.
Shit.
Your title is stripped from you, and you
Yeah,
no. You see a wide-eyed dwarven girl, and she's kind of looking up at you, very young, and is looking up at you and kind of blinks, and she is that and she's looking up at your staff and your tunic and everything, and she's like, "Are you an adventurer?" And so so Gainar hears this and bustles over and all right, that'll be enough of that. You'll have to
She's
pardon
like a young Bolo.
You'll have to pardon my dear Rose. And he sort of, kisses her head affectionately, and he says, "She's a lovely one, she is, but she always wants to grow wild." And she says, "Dad, I can do it. I can go out and be an adventurer. They can." And he says, nope, that's not for you. You understand, you're going to stay with us and farm. You're not going to be going out there on any crazy adventures. Oh, begging your pardon, Thane, but this is a great hero. If anything, maybe they can tell you how dangerous it is." And he looks up at you, Tawny, like how dangerous it is to go outside. And
Rose?
and so Rose looks up and says, Is that true?" And then she looks over at you, Inga, and Bolo, although I know you're still occupied with the recipes and stuff. River and Scarfira is still, chattering away. And she says, "Is that true? It's not that dangerous, is it? It's not, is it? Dad's just exaggerating, isn't he?"
Well, it's not dangerous if you're as tall as Tony Bear is here. So once you get as tall as Tony Bear, I'm sure you can become an adventurer.
And she puts her hands on her hips and she tilts her head, and she has sort of red auburn hair and curls. And she sort of shakes her head and she says, "You know I can't be any taller than we're going to get. I'm only going to get as tall as you, maybe a little taller." And so Kona hears this and is like, "Child, that's not don't talk back. How dare you with your sass?" And she just says, "But I'm not, Ma. I'm only I can't be as tall as him. He's not a dwarf." And then she looks up. "Are you a dwarf? Did something go wrong? Are you a dwarf but you're sick? Are you a sick dwarf?" She says, looking up at you, Tawny.
The beard. It's a beard.
You want to know what it would be like to be this tall?
Yes.
Oh.
He reaches down with a single hand, picks her up, and brings her all the way up to the point where, she's at his height.
She's like waving her arms, the greatest thing. So the mother, like Kona's like, is like clearly nervous about all this. The father is sort of like nonplussed, doesn't know. But Rose is absolutely in her glory, just like, look, I'm as tall. I made it. I can go adventuring now. And she drums on your arm and
And Tawny's like, and he just lets his hand fall. So that she gets the shock of the elevator dropping.
And then she looks and, "That was fun. Can we do it again?"
Did you feel it? But you felt how scary it was, right?
Well, no, I kind of liked it. I like jumping off hills and you can see, you're right. Scarfira, of course, is smiling now because, of course, now she hears it and she starts whispering to you, River, about adding a verse about precocious dwarf children and about how would you add this chord structure, and all that stuff. So
I would also...
River whispers back saying, Tawny is not going to realize that the thing he has to say to dissuade a child from adventure is to talk about just how much walking we do.
Yeah, because that's true. And Scarfera smiles because Gainar is looking at you, Tawny, like, you're not helping. Like, this is the look at the uncle who isn't helping at the meal, right? Like,
he's not done.
Okay.
I'm sure that Bolo has probably shared some of Bilbo's adventures.
Oh, with you? Oh, I imagine. Have you, Bolo?
Probably. So.
Oh yeah, sure.
Okay, good. So Tawny's kind of walking around the table with her in his hand until he gets over by the pot, and then he, having her by the ankle, holds her over the stew pot.
Oh my god!
and so, and now Kona's like, right, and she's like, So
She's fine and tender at this age, is she not?
and she kind of looks up and, are you trying to scare me? I don't think you're actually scary. I think you're good.
Almost to the surface, but
Yeah.
not quite.
And she does that, and you can tell that she's sort of like this, and she looks back up and she says, and she whispers, like stage whispers, and says, if you want my dad to think I'm scared, it's okay. I'll do it if you want.
And he just, as he's pulling her back up, he kind of.
Right. Yep.
And winks at her.
And so so when you put her back down, also Tawny, you've made a permanent friend. She thinks you're the greatest thing since sliced bread.
That's why it's emblazoned on my arm.
Yeah. And Geinar is like, well, thank you for your.
Like a little loaf as your loaf.
Exactly.
Yeah, Geinar. So despite the fact that and Rose, when Geinar comes around, Rose is like, "Oh, Dad, it was so frightening. I understand what you mean. I totally get it." Then she looks at you, Tawny. He's like, and Geinar kind of like sighs heavily and is just like, yes, and so on. This is a pleasant group. And the experience as the sort of food and the warmth and all of that sort of fills you. It kind of belies what might be happening outside. So much so that I'm going to give each of you the chance to remove a shadow point. So each of you will remove a shadow point.
All it took was bad acting from a little child.
That's right. And she says, "What do you mean bad?" No. So
maybe we should take her on the journey.
Right.
Oh my god!
Can you imagine her facing down the dragon, just like, you don't scare me? The dragon's like, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Why are you so mean?
You're right. I am mean. My father never was kind to me.
Do you not have any friends? Yeah.
It's like,
I'll be your friend.
It all happened with my father. He was always gone. He was always eating dwarves and.
They're gonna have a tea party together with their stuffed animals.
So yes, exactly. So it's that. So you remove that shadow point. However, I want to jump us forward just slightly, because and you'll have a chance next time to be able to talk about this. But as you set out the next day with everyone smiling at each other, Geinar is a good man. Kona is a good woman. They're good people, and Rose obviously is the best kid.
Delicious child.
The best kid, yes. They are lovely people, but it is a lot to ask for Geinar, who rarely has company and rarely sees people that especially like this, for him not even coincidentally to let something like that slip. And so, in addition to your normal hunt score, it's going to go up 2 because he has a hard time keeping his mouth shut.
Well, but he also rarely gets visitors.
That's true. Well, but there's an inn that he can go to and talk about the visitors. I'm not going to bring us to that, but it's going to be very much along the whole well, I can't talk about it, but I might say, type of thing, right?
Oh, you fool!
Yeah.
Even though River will be like, seriously speak of this to no one, he's just gonna not be able to.
And I want to really emphasize, he really was not lying to you. Like, that's absolutely his intention. He just. This is
bad at it.
Yeah,
well,
he's just
I guess
bad
then
at
we
it.
just have to kill him.
You don't know any of this, but you do know that you're going to have to make 2 last rolls. I'm going to have you make 1 check. This is when it's at 12. The score's at 12. That's for the normal day's passage. So again, you're rolling 20. You're adding 6.
And before Tawny leaves, at some point during the night, he basically sits down with paper and a marker and writes down a couple of different healing salves that they can make from the stuff in the kitchen.
Okay.
And whatnot, and things to help improve their soil so they can grow mint again.
Which is like super useful. And, Kona is like wildly thankful to this. And I'll talk about the impact of that in a minute. So go ahead and make these checks first. So first check
how about
is.
Brad makes those. His rolls aren't as terrible as.
All right. Bolo can absolutely
now
make this
that
roll.
you've said that, watch what
Yeah.
happens.
Yeah, I had my terrible
roll high.
roll.
It's fine.
In before 1.
Just straight D20s, right?
Yes, and while you're doing this chat, anyone who's arrived, remember, if you type in the word dragon, you'll be entered in the giveaway for Oblivion.
See, there's a 1 in that.
Okay, good. So you make that first check. Good. Now the second check is for the loose tongue of Gynar, so to speak.
And this is a party roll again?
And this is a party roll again. So it's up to you. You can do it or someone else can. But the score here you're trying to meet is 13. So
Why didn't we just tell him that if you speak of this to anyone, we will come back and take your daughter with us?
he would have been like, I can't let that happen. And then half an hour later would be like, whoops. Like it's not, he's a good
They
person.
threatened to take my daughter dragon
Yeah,
hunting.
exactly. They said if I said anything about their dragon mission, like, God damn it. That's Gynar.
A sieve.
Yep, pretty much.
All right. One more?
Yes, one more.
Do it.
Ooh. So it's 11 plus 6. So
17.
17.
You made it closer.
Woo!
And so I will say this, just as the next morning, so those checks will be out of the way, so we don't have to do any more checks until the next day passes, which we'll deal with next session. But as you're ready to leave the following morning, one thing you notice just as you're setting out or just after having set out is that there's something strange, some strange scent coming from each of your packs.
A good scent?
Yes. You
I'll
find
open up my pack.
you find in your packs that each of you has been given a loaf of fresh bread, literally baked within the last half hour, and I'm waiting for Tari's reaction in particular on this, a hunk of fresh cheese, which must clearly have been made from sheep's milk within the last week.
Nice.
Yum yum.
And it is with that lovely scent and the sense of good companionship as you prepare to set off on your on your journey for the dragon, that we're going to bring this session to a close. One of my favorite sessions in a while, mostly just because it was lovely to spend it with friends. Good stuff from everybody, and good stuff as well from chat. You folks really brought it today. I'll talk more to chat in a minute before I close up shop, but good work, players. And now we really see what we've got sort of positioned before us. I'll have a chance at the end, if I forget, at the beginning of next session, if I forget, remind me that I did want to just talk about what Skirfair says to the river before leaving. But they set out really early on. I love the interactions, not just with Gynar and everybody in that hut. Tani's whole thing, Tren, with the kid, I love it. And I love that each one of you had something that was being communicated to you specifically because of people that were here. And so I happen to really like also Amal, Greystroke, and Scrifera. Like, I like those characters, and I enjoyed that sort of experience. And then this is sort of like the calm before the plunge, because it's going to get dark, peoples, as we go here. But it was lovely to see that, and the gathering threat slowly of the dragon is something we'll need to consider in our next session. As always, I will start. I'll move over to cams only here. I will start on the bottom right with Amal. Amal, wonderful work today. And the river got a chance to, fangirl out and be fangirled out as well, sort of like talk shop with musicians and things like that, and got to meet Scrifera. I hope she measured up to your expectations. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Talking about measuring up for a dwarf. I don't know. It feels like a micro.
And a musician.
Maybe a sick
Yeah.
dwarf.
And a musician.
It's
Yes.
fair. Measuring, yes, indeed, the musical measures. No, I thought that was delightful. I'm so glad we got to meet them before battle, because that's a relationship dynamic that I really like. The grumpy one and the sunshine one, etc.
Yep.
And I think that just the fact that they are such a literal mirror of Inga and River in that way. I mean, Inga is not that dour, right? But just in general temperament terms, I find that very charming. I'm really glad we got to meet them. And just having a lull like this where we get to just have fun with food and music and small children is both nice to be refreshed with, but also kind of gives you a sense of the stakes going forward. And by stakes, I don't mean nom child stakes or whatever that the dragon will have. But anyway, just we don't want the stakes have escalated so that we don't want stakes to be made out of these nice people by the dragon.
Indeed.
So,
we shall put a stake through the dragon's heart.
Yeah.
Hey, I see what you did there.
Like a mistake.
Just makes a note. Also, vampire dragon. Just want to make
Well,
sure.
that's great because I'm sure
Well,
Bolo
so long
travels
as
with
it's
a lot
not an
of garlic.
illicit dragon. Might play a
Exactly.
dragon.
Oh man.
But yeah, so no, it was very charming. I really liked that. Yeah, so looking forward to next session. I'm curious to know as well. I presume that we are going to like head off, probably not traveling with Scrifira and Greystroke.
No, they will have set off actually just before you, and in a slightly different direction.
And it makes sense because we don't want to increase our trackability and stuff like that. So yeah, that seems cool. In terms of where people can find me, at my website, which has a newsletter attached to it, I'm adamhathab.com. But I do just want to re-up on reminding folks about C.S.E. Cooney's Saint Death's Daughter because it's so beautiful. It's such a gorgeous book. And I just really want everyone to read it. So that's basically that. Yeah.
Good stuff. Thank you, Mal. Good work today. And moving right along, I think typically I go to Tari next. Tari, good stuff today as well. And Inga, I love the pivot as we go through where heroes become less about having to introduce themselves, although that does have to happen still, and more about, oh, you're this person, right? And then there are stories that get spread about like they do this and they do this. And so when Guynar is talking to you, part of that is just sort of like, well, this is a dwarf and this is like a very important dwarf, like someone that I can really trust. And so talking to you and sort of wanting to know, like, what do you think our chances are? That's the kind of thing that happens because of how much trust they now have in you specifically, Thane, Inga, as a hero of Dale and all that. Provides, it's not like they can go Google up the news. So you're being able to tell them, yeah, we're one of the groups and we're going to take care of this and everything is big for them. And that's a different sort of change perhaps than what might have been the case before with Inga. As your responsibilities increase, so too does your reputation. And part of what you have to do is be like, it's okay, we'll take care of it. Like we got it. So that was interesting for me to watch that being done. And you also set up the whole thing about Tawny being a sick dwarf. So I will always appreciate you for that as well. So that was good. How did you feel about today's session?
Carrot from the Discworld novels, right? Like the tallest
Yes,
dwarf, right?
yes. That's right. That's right. Yeah, I know you did do a command for that. I don't know what that is, Rudna. I'll see if I can track it. Anyway, how did you feel about today, Tari? Where will the fine folks find you next?
This was incredibly lovely. I cannot believe that this was the first time in all these years that you sang during a game for us. Like, it was the first time. That was awesome.
Thank you.
So,
it was a pleasure.
Yes, that was so nice. Yeah, I really, really enjoyed this. And this is like a very hardcore moment of, oh, look how pleasant everything is before everything.
And then doom. God.
Basically. I mean, that's like what happens in the books, right? It's like, oh, like first they have like a nice pony ride through meadows and over the hills and everybody sings songs and oops, and there was trolls and oops, and there was
Goldberry and
goblins.
Bombadil and then Barrow Whites. Like just
I was like first citing the Hobbit and then
I know. I was giving another example of many. You're right.
It's just, like the classic here, let me remind you all of like what you are protecting, what you're going to fight for.
And then rip. Not anymore.
Yeah, rip.
Yep.
So yeah, time to roll up new characters, I suppose. Just keeping new sheets.
You'll have to start at level 1 because of my wizardry. No, I was joking with people before about my wizardry frustrations. Anyway, that's an inside joke for chat. So
yeah, that was very lovely. And I'm looking forward to next time, which I'm assuming is next Tuesday. Because a week after I can't play.
Yeah, that was the plan.
Then I think that's right. That's right. So it's next Tuesday is the next session. I guess that's right. It's the 19th because you can't play on the 26th. I think that's right.
Yeah.
And we have the Patreon fueled, which reminds me, I have to do nominations for the Chet Chosen Game of the Month today. Whoops. I'm glad you reminded me. Anyway, yes. So it'll be next week, the 19th, where we'll find out more. In the meantime, where can they find you, Tari?
Yes, on Twitter and on Instagram, and also since 2 weeks ago or so on Tumblr again, of all places. I had been on Tumblr for years before they did the whole famous, infamous Tumblr Exodus thing where my art blog got shadow banned, which means that my pictures were just not showing up in the search result anymore, which kills any art blog immediately. So
Yeah.
I made a new account now after many years because I was not able to fill that gap that had left behind as far as social media goes, because Twitter is just absolute shite for artists, let's be real. Instagram is just, it's fine, but Tumblr had just been the best platform for like social media platform specifically for posting art. So yeah, I went back there now. So yeah, you can find me there at TariTunes. It's the same name for all of these. So if you wanna give me a follow, that would be swell. Would be dandy or something. So yeah, that's me.
Thank you, Tari, very much. And great work today. I just I saw this in chat that Gilbert Gottfried just passed away. I didn't even know that was like out of nowhere, but apparently that was confirmed that it happened. I was not aware that he was sick after a long illness. I didn't know any of that. My goodness. So wow, just because he was like, it's like the iconic voice in the whole bit. My goodness.
I mean,
anyway.
the same
He
thing with
played
Chadwick
Iago
Boseman.
Played Iago, yeah. Sorry, say again,
yeah,
Finn?
on Aladdin.
It was the same thing with Chadwick Boseman. I had no idea he
Yeah.
was sick, and then suddenly he was gone.
No one
Yeah.
did. That continues to blow me away that
I think
he
he
filmed
did for a while.
Yeah, that he filmed like Black Panther when he was already sick. I can't even conceive, because that's such a physical role. God.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway,
What
that
it
was
takes out of you. He was deep into chemo, I think, at that point.
unreal. Just amazing. And yeah, I was sorry to hear about that. I'm sorry to hear about that. That's too bad. Moving along, Brad, Bolo, first of all, Bolo is not yet got a chance to do sort of the hide and shadows work, but he'll definitely have attention with that. But we got a lot of more like Flank Searer, backstory development. First of all, Flank Searer now actually acts as a buckler. And also, of course, Flank Searer was being used as you were talking shop there with Kona. And I was enjoying that partly because I just love the idea of the, recipe exchanges and the idea that since every one of you is going to be larger than life in their own way, like your communication of what would be larger than life from her point of view is going to be just as epic as like, oh, check out the harp, or like, here, oh, wow, Tani's a tall person / sick dwarf, like whatever. So that was really cool, watching that play out a little bit, and maybe gives Bolo more even things to think about and work with, because you'd be familiar with comfortable environments like this, and you haven't had all that many of them before you plunge in to really see what happens with the dragon. How did you feel about today's session? Where will the fine folks find you next?
Yeah, it was fun. At one point, I was going to joke that we had like the entire cabin full of red pandas. Like everybody was geeking out over different things.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
It was fun. That was a nice, heartfelt, cute, scene for everybody to go through before we head into the waste and such. And I continue to be impressed by like the ability of the game to abstract the locomotive parts of and not even a locomotive, like just different parts that need abstraction are abstracted, but you still get this sense that the characters are going through it.
Yeah.
It's not like it completely glosses over travel. It makes that important, but it doesn't dive into the weeds so much that you're counting every step, on the way to the next place kind of thing. It's really good. It's very well done. And this, it was really cool meeting Greystoken's Grafira, kind of adds to the not competitive nature, but just like the sense that what is happening is being attacked on multiple fronts, and we don't know how it's going to go and stuff. So the mystery and the mystique of meeting this dragon is continuing to build. So I'm looking forward to the next session. And I don't have much. I'm laying low for a while, so I'll be back in a couple of weeks and be plugging away at my books in the meantime.
It's going to be good stuff. Yeah, thanks, Brad. Yeah, next week, I guess, right? We'll see you back here for that.
Yeah,
but yeah, thank you very much. Good work today, and yeah, definitely, I'm looking forward to that. Last but certainly not least, Tren. I mean, again, this thing between Tawny and Rose was great, and I think it was great partially because Rose isn't a brat. It's just Rose is nobody's fool, right? And also. But and also is like semi scared, but not really in the way that little kids can be. And that reaction, by the way, is 1,000,000% the reaction my son would have had. Like quite literally, if you were just sort of dropping it, he'd be like, like he'd literally just like drop and then be like, "Can we do that again?" Like that is just 1,000,000% the way that my son is. And so I had a big smile on my face thinking about the image of you walking around this cabin with Gynar being like, "That's not, I don't," like you being like, "I got this, it's fine."
If she doesn't learn, I'll drop a bookcase on her.
It's like, now she'll learn not to do it. Just a little scorching should be fine.
Right, exactly.
But it was lovely to watch. And also the ideas of being able to teach them some aspects of healing, which is important out on a farm and stuff like that. So that was nice to see, and sets up for, Tawny's going to have to be on point with the healing coming soon probably. And so all of that is sort of built as a part of this. So how did you feel about today's session? Where will the lovely folks find you next?
Well, first of all, yes, Jagtress, you're a little bit late.
A little late. I have been on for a while, but it's good to see you.
Which means that you probably missed the reveal of the cover art and everything. I'm sure he'll show it again in a moment.
I'll show it to more.
Yeah, I figured. Very much enjoyed today. It was as good as I expected it to be. There are, of course, as I'm sure you are keenly aware because you're, God. There are things coming that we didn't get to cover today, and things that we know that you don't know that will be coming. But that's okay. We'll cover that eventually.
I was like smiling on. I'm like, wait, what? It's just like, like the time that I'll bring up. But did I mention my Dragon Slayer honeycomb? And like, what? Feed this to a dragon and it blows up, as do all other dragons in a 7,000-mile radius.
If we could just sit there and be like, lembas bread. Just keep throwing it down.
Crumb.
Exactly. Well, maybe not that. Tastes like dwarf. Well, of course it does. But yeah, where will people see me next? Probably here, I would imagine.
Yes.
I don't think it's this weekend. No, it's next weekend for.
Right.
I mean, here on Tuesday, and then next Saturday for
Eberron, Oracle of War.
That thing. Thank you. Forget what they are. I keep thinking there was something else that I was going to mention. I'm sure there was.
Audiobook or.
Yeah. Probably. I mean, the one that Brian Young wrote.
Yes. What the heck?
I should be able to remember.
Destiny something
open.
or other. I don't.
I've got it open right there. Honor's Gauntlet.
Yeah.
And that's up on Audible right now for people who want to listen to my voice, who aren't as sick of it as I am. Because you get tired of listening to your own voice all the time. No matter how many voices you have, trust me, exactly. Ow. See, it's hurting Tally. And
only in Germany.
But yeah, there's that and thing with stuff and doohickeys.
Ouch.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'm vaccinated against tetanus.
I was gonna say, we
had this discussion.
Right, exactly. Last time.
It's all right. You're still surviving.
You didn't bite me, so you just scratch me. It's fine.
Yeah.
Is it gonna bleed though? Yes, it is.
I was gonna say, let's hope so. As Urgel in the Never-Ending Story said, it has to hurt if it's to heal. So,
that's right.
I loved her. I thought that Falcor looked kind of stupid because he's got
what?
Read the book. Read the book. Read
dumb
the book.
Dog head. Look,
he doesn't have that one in the book.
Good. And
very decidedly does not look like a dog in the book.
And the guy who did the voice of Man-at-Arms and He-Man is his voice actor, which is okay. I don't mind that much. Yeah, but I mean, the Gamorg. Get on Grindr, Gamorg. I need to find you. Anyway, had to bring that back around. So, good night, everybody.
Thank you, Tren. Thank you to my wonderful players, and really genuinely, thank you so much, friends, for playing this with me and for
Happy
being
anniversary.
here. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was a great honor to be with all of you lovely folks, and I really appreciated all of the time and the joy you bring to these sessions. So
That's what it was. That was the other thing. Sorry, it just occurred to me. Oblivion.
Yes.
So if you win Oblivion, or if you own it or whatever, you play it, and you go and then you play Skyrim, make sure you get the Skyrim or Beyond Skyrim Bruma thing, because all of that takes place where Oblivion happens. So you get to see that. Sorry,
so
that was the thing.
that's fine. Now we all know the connection, and we'll be giving that away in just a minute. But I'm going to let the players go. Thank you, wonderful players. Appreciate it. I will see you folks next week. As always, check we get some love for the amazing players of Trendane Sparks, of Brad Bollier, of Tari Tunes, and of Amal Elmatar. Thank you so much, everybody. Good work, and I will see you folks next week. Bye. For now.
Bye.
All righty. Good stuff. And chat, it is very good stuff because we managed to get through and set ourselves up for what is going to happen next, which is going to be nominations, which we're going to do in just a minute. But before we do, just a quick reminder, we are at 841 subs, which is really great. I would love to get some more YouTube subs because we're trying to get up to 1,000. Made some good progress today. We actually have gotten, I think, over 20 subs today on YouTube, so that's great. I want to keep that up. When we get to 1,000 subscribers, we're going to be able to monetize that channel, which will help us with a lot of other things, so it's going to be good stuff. So please, if you haven't done so already, please consider doing that. Also, we've done the last call. Type in the word dragon. This is the absolute last call. I know this has been done a couple of times, but absolute last call for Oblivion, courtesy of our good friend Dragonspear. So please make sure that you get in for that now or forever hold your peace, as they say. So make sure you do that. And we're going to do that. So waiting for this. Finish your whiskey or beer. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Okay. Going once. Going twice. And, all right, here we go. And I think it's this. Arinth is the winner. Arinth has won a copy of Oblivion from GOG. Arinth, you are still here, I assume? Arinth, are you still here? One can hope. Arinth, are you here? Arinth, are you okay? Arinth, are you okay? Are you okay, Arinth? You've been struck by a smooth criminal. Also, hi, Elias. There's Arinth. Yay. Everyone else also won Oblivion. Okay, give me 1 second, Arinth. Arinth, I am whispering your code to you right as we speak. Now, remember, this is a GOG code. You all should be doing GOG. This is a GOG code. Arinth, I'm whispering this to you on Twitch. I have whispered you the code, Arinth. Can you confirm that you received it, please? And again, thank you to Dragonspear, who gave this code to me. So can you confirm, Arinth, please, that you have received it? Awesome. There it is. Yay. Okay. You have got it. So enjoy it. Enjoy Oblivion. That's good stuff. Okay. Now what we're going to do is here, I'm going to be at the top of the hour. I'm going to be over at GOG.com's Twitch channel with Pen and Pixels and playing some Dragon's Dogma. Also, I think Echo, I think I saw you mention before this thing about doing like a thing over there. The reason I'm not making as big a thing over there is because it's not my anniversary there. My anniversary at GOG actually is in October. And I want to double check because I think I've been there 7 years. I'd have to double check and see. So we'll see. I will have to double check and see when it was. But then I'm going to do something to celebrate that because that's been cool as well. But first and foremost, you folks are my home base, and it's been an amazing experience to see this. And yeah, I really was moved today. I don't know if it's going to make sense to everybody, but just the fact that people are having banter and like show your thing, show this stuff, show this business, which is the same thing that I do with writer friends of mine and the same thing I've done in other contexts. But the fact that people are doing it and it's like, oh, all of you people, that type of thing, that's really, there were times I wasn't sure that was going to happen for me. And getting the chance to do that is just really, really important. So I was really, really powerful. So I'm glad that I was able to do that. And I'm really grateful to the 4 players, and I'm grateful to all of you for indulging me through all of that, because that was really cool. I love that. I'd love more of that. More banter, please, about my writing. It is pretty sweet. I loved it. Okay. So now let's talk about, not that one, remove. We're going to talk about ARVBot Plus and the polls. Like that. There we go. All right, so nomination times, folks. What game should ARV play this month? Nominations. This is going to be played not next week, but the week after, 2 weeks from today. So, yeah, well, that's very important to me, Big Boss. That's really important to me, and we strive to make it that way. We really do. Okay, here we go. So, nominate a game for me, chat. You can each get 1 nomination. I will accept nominations for games to play. I reserve the right to veto them if I don't think I'm going to enjoy them or whatever. But please, okay, Psychonauts. Yeah, remind me what Psychonauts is again. Growl Answer 2. It's going to happen one of these days nonstop. You know it is. It's going to happen. Earthworms, right? I remember you want to do that before live suing. Remind me about, what is Psychonauts? I know I've heard of it a million times. I never played it at all. Die by the Sword. What is that game, Echo? And when this game, and also while you folks are getting your other nominations in, while you're doing this, platform game that incorporates various adventure elements. That's right. Okay. All right, here you go. For those of you who missed this before, the cover reveal. Here you go, Jagtress. I know you were one of them. There it is. Feast your eyes upon this. It is Greyshade, the Grey Assassin Trilogy, Book 1. This, again, is going to be published May 31st. And then the Kickstarter for the next 2 books in this series, plus the tabletop role-playing game, plus the audiobook of this, will launch 2 weeks later. But this will be published, and you'll be able to buy it as of May 31st. I adore this cover. I'm so happy with this cover. I'm glad. Thank you, Jactress. I'm glad you like it. This thing, like the low, it may sound stupid, but the long tail of the R is just, so chef's kiss. So good. There's the spine. You can see the title, my name, and then you've got the Athos logo. And then on the back, you got all that. You got Martha Wells' blurb. Great read for fans of dark, gritty fantasy. No big deal. I mean, it's just Martha Wells. Multiple Hugo Award-winning New York Times bestselling Martha Wells. The description, you get Athos. You got the barcode right there. You got my name. You got the description of this place. Yeah, I know everyone says that, Elias. I didn't draw it, though. It wasn't me. The guy just came to me and was like, here's this. Like, I don't know. In another life, was I Greg Shade or something? Arv Shade? Gray Arv, maybe? And then we've got that. Oh, look at that. We've got on the inside cover. This isn't a separate page. This is the inside cover, I'll have you know. So you have things like from Brad, from Eric Scott DeBee, from Aaron Rosenberg, from Kelly Swales, from Michael R. Underwood. Already mentioned the one from Martha Wells. We've got Andrew Bachenko from the European Review of Speculative Fiction. You got that. It really does. It wasn't me. And then this, which is, that's from the First Rite of Devotion, which of course Trent will know. I just am so in love with, the book came out so well. I can't even. And my dedication page, which, do I want to show that? Well, I won't say the names of them, although it's not totally a secret. If you get the book, you'll see it in the acknowledgments. But I dedicated it to Mrs. Arv, Little Arv, and Mini Arv, mind, heart, and spirit. So I dedicated it to my family. But I also, in my acknowledgments, talked about various things, including all of these people that were a part of this. yeah, to a bunch of the people. And yeah, so thank you. Thank you, Live Suing. Yes. And a lot of those people, they're all real. Has anyone heard of them? Well, they better have heard of Martha Wells, Hugo Award-winning author and New York Times bestseller. They will probably have heard of Michael Underwood, or they should. Kelly, some of them will have heard of. Did a lot of short story writing too, in addition to this book. Aaron Rosenberg, who I've talked about before, is a veteran. He's designing the Gray Shade tabletop game and is a veteran designer and author who's written a lot of stuff. Brad Bollier, you just all saw Brad, and I mean, Brad has also had a very successful writing career. Eric Scott DeBee writes for Forgotten Realms and things like that, and has done other stuff in there. The European Review of Speculative Fiction, I had not heard, I will admit, of Andor Buchenkov, but the European Review of Speculative Fiction is known, and that quote is like money, so it's so good. It was good. So anyway, all right, that is my cover, and I hope people like it. There's going to be a tabletop. Yes, there is a tabletop game, very almost Blades in the Darky-ish and stuff. It's going to be based on 5e, but it's going to be based on 5e with there's a lot of different elements to it. So I'm very, very excited about that too. Okay, remember nominations, right? So we have Psychonauts, Growlancer, Earthworms. Do we have any other nominations for games? Any other nominations for games? Yes, Big Boss, I'm glad you noticed that. This thing right here, come on, focus in. This thing right here, the moon image, which is like the moon behind that, reflecting off of the title and into this, that idea partially came because of stuff that Turbo Tango noticed about the cover. They was already doing some of that, but it meant that we could like lean into those elements. So it's going to be good. Yeah, and definitely talk more about your work when it gets out there, Jagtress too, published and so on. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so we have 4 nominations. I'm gonna just kind of last call on this for nominations because I got to make sure I do this, and then I got to get rolling and get prepped for the GOG stream. Going once, going twice. Okay, so here we go, chat. I'm going to open this up. The top 3 vote getters are going to go into our straw poll link, which is !next game. So if I can give the mods a heads up to get that ready for when this happens. Top 3 vote getters will go over there. And then once that's done, you'll have basically till next week to make your final vote, and then I'll play it the week after. So here's what we got right now. We have Psychonauts is in the lead. We got Growlancer 2 right behind it, and then 1 vote each for Earthworms and Die by the Sword. And Earthworms has now picked up another vote. So now we've got 3, 2, and 2. 3, 2, and 2. All right. Okay. Lovely. Okay. Psychonauts. See, there's a real chance Growlancer could pull this out this month. It could happen. Nonstop's long, strange journey may come to an end, and it all started on the Streamiversary. While the last votes are coming in, folks, by the way, there is an outside chance I might come back tonight because I really wanted to make a big sort of shindig for this. But honestly, the cover reveal, all of the wonderful channel subs, we had a ton of channel subs today, ton of channel points that came in, all of the generosity in terms of the YouTube subs. We got a ton of YouTube subs today as well. We are currently sitting at 840, I think it's 841. So that was really great. Checking out all the people sort of tweeting and retweeting, and just a lot of joy. And it was that was great. And hopefully when the Kickstarter launches, we'll get even more joy as lots of people pick this up. I'm not going to jinx myself or anything else, but I'm also trying to look at this with a quiet confidence. This is a good book. It's a good book because I think I worked very hard on it. It's a good book because I think it's got my sort of an emotional core to it. It's a good book because of all the wonderful work that's been done on the editorial side. I've raved about Emily's edits on this. I've raved about John Helfer's edits on this. I've raved about the previous people that contributed, people like Marie and Gabrielle Harboe and people like that. The sensitivity read stuff that was done by Brandon O'Brien, and just generally the stuff that I talked with to Brandon about this. The work as beta reading that people like Mike Underwood did, and then all the proofreading that's being done as well. It's been through a lot, and I'm very proud of it, and I think it's a good book that I think has legs. And my hope is that this really takes off, and that the Kickstarter really takes off and really does well. The next 2 books in the series, like if you like this one, you ain't seen nothing yet. Renegade steps up the stakes considerably, and so does Heretic, the final book in the series. And the tabletop game is going to be amazing too. There's other surprises. First of all, Trent's audiobook. Listen, it's Trent. Like, his audio work is incredible. I got chills listening to the opening of the book when he first recorded it. Chills. Like, he's amazing. So that's going to be great. And then there'll be other surprises along the way. We actually have a couple of other, one partner in particular that has joined up recently who's going to be providing something awesome. And I can't talk about that yet, but that's going to be really exciting. I'm just really pumped up about it. It's going to be super great. Happiness sponsored by Dragon Spear Esquire. The chills were multiplying, yes. And thank you again, Dragon, for giving that. I hope you noticed that we used also the dragon keyword, so we had that all going on. It was all good. But okay, last call on this. Last call, folks. It was great. We're losing. Yes. I see what you all did there. And I would like to subscribe to your collective newsletters. Also, again, thank you. Again, just an example of generosity. There's so much, I can't go through it all. Effect Life is the one who put together ArvBot Plus. And Effect Life did that based upon the original model of this, which was done by Netawin, both of them that were here, today. And so really grateful to the generosity that every one of them has shown. There's Effect Life. Just really appreciate it so much. And, a lot of good stuff that came out of it. So thank you very much. You folks are what make the community what it is. All right, going once, going twice. Here we go, chat. Here are your 3 choices. So, Psychonauts, Growlancer 2, and Earthworms. Those are going to be the finalists, and you're going to have until next week to vote on those in the straw poll, which is being put together, I have no doubt, by one of my amazing, incredible, unbelievable mods who are the best in the business, as I've said many times. Again, that is Psychonauts, Growlancer 2, and Earthworms. Those are the ones there. Very last call, by the way. Very last call for joining on the YouTube subs. We got another sub here, so we're up to 842 subs. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it. I really do, folks. Getting that monetized would be a big boost for us, so I'm excited about that. So yes, so that's what we're looking at. Coming up close to, does everyone... We don't need to actually put the link up now, but do we get the 3 games? Any of my mods who might be kind enough to be working on this, do we get the games? Psychonauts, Growlancer 2, and Earthworms, just so I can close this down and close up shop for the afternoon. You're doing it? Okay. Thanks, Dragon. So Psychonauts, Growlancer 2, and Earthworms. Thank you so much. All right. So that, folks, is going to do it for me for today on this channel. Probably. Again, there is a chance you might see me tonight. Maybe. Could happen. But otherwise, I will be out until coming up on Friday. And then Friday, I will be back with some more Gran Turismo 7. For those of you who missed the announcement, I probably will not be streaming on Saturday because I'll be away with family. But we're having a family vacation, a little mini one. But I will be streaming on Friday night, so you'll be able to see me there. And it's going to be awesome. So please join me for that with Gran Turismo 7. And then we'll see how things go. I have multiple games down the line. Triangle Strategy is up there that I'm going to be playing that I want to play next and give a shot to. We've got, we've got Lost in Random that I'm going to be coming back to. I've been playing around with the idea of doing Road to the Show, maybe some, then some Frostpunk, ActRaiser, Ghost of Tsushima is in there. Sorcery 4, we're going to get back to that. So we got a lot of games down the line. But yeah, GT7, I've really been enjoying the role-playing car, the RPG, basically. I've been enjoying that a lot. So, But I got to rise up on out of here, folks, and we're going to finish up with a total right now of 842. But please, if you're within the sound of my voice, subscribe and please join me over there. And please support the channel in all the ways you know how to do and did today. Please follow the channel. Check out our YouTube with !ArvTube, Discord !ArvCord, Twitter !ArvTweets, website arvineleron.com. Again, please sub to me over on YouTube. Website, I said arvineleron.com. Financially, !Arv shop is my merchandise area. !Arvtreon is the Patreon. Thank you very much. Go ahead and click on that to vote there. !Arvtreon for that. Arvtreon, I said that. Also subscribing to the channel, as many of you were kind enough to do, or gifting subs today, so you can get those custom sub badges and emotes. That really helps. On the publishing side, Icarus for my Athos Arts graphic novel, Icarus, award-winning too. Library for my Tales and Tomes from the Forbidden Library, 5e Adventure and Sourcebook from Alligator Alley Entertainment, and Alligator Alley and Athos will be working together on my Greyshade Kickstarter. Greyshade KS for more details about the IP with this. This will be published on May 31st, separate from the Kickstarter, but the preview page will go live at that time, and it will be available for 2 weeks, at which point the Kickstarter for the next 2 books in this series, Renegade and Heretic, plus the tabletop role-playing game will go live, plus Trendane's audiobook, all part of that Kickstarter. So, and some surprises as well. So that's coming up. Mark your calendars, May 31st, for the details about that. Greyshade KS. And as always, BLM, Black Lives Matter, very important to affirm and assert the significance and importance of Black lives. Help Now, which is the World Health Organization page on suicide prevention. Very important to reach out to others when you need help and to reach out to others when they need help as well. Trend. And Ukraine, UKRAINE, to help the people in Ukraine, the millions displaced, so many who have had their lives lost, their property taken, their country's sovereignty violated, and we are trying to stop that in our own way here as much as we can with that. So please make sure you do that as well. That's going to do it for me for now. Again, if I'm back tonight, it'll be kind of a, hey, surprise type of thing. But definitely, I'm heading over right now, actually, to GogCom's Twitch channel for Pen and Pixels and some Dragon's Dogma. That's going to do it for me. Much love to all of you lovely people. Thank you to Arudinel, Dragonspear, Hillness, Triffity Mats, best mods in the business. Thank you to my Patreon supporters and subscribers, Arudinel, Dragonspear, Hillness, Triffity Mats, Echo Alpha X5, Effect Life, Nonstop, Amalo, Matar, Big Boss, Brahms, Critchwich, Aranth, Garlic Tofu, Izzy's, Live Suing, Marie Bilodeau, Trendane, and Uncle Elias. Thank you as well to my viewers, to Ash Said Hi, to Axeman, Craigery, to Adenia. Thank you to It's the Fritz, Jagtress, Little Roy Sarasa. Thank you to Nintendo Switch XL. Thank you to Sonic Wing, Stargazing, Superstand, and Yumikkel. Thank you so much to everybody. And from the bottom of my heart, to everyone who's made this channel worth spending some of your time on, to everyone who's made this community what it is, thank you for 10 years of wonderful streaming. Hopefully we'll have another 10 years of good stuff to come in the future. But I am so honored to have been able to be a part of the streams for you. Thank you all so much for your support. Much love. And as I always say, and super, super mean it, oh, wait, one thing. First of all, also thanks to my wonderful players today, to Terry, to Amal, to Tren, and to Brad. And now, as I always say to all of you, and really mean it, please be good to each other. Bye. I'll see you over on GogCom's Twitch channel. And thanks for 10 years. Bye for now.